Welcome back. And we're actually back. Don't worry. Although it was nice to see Sorry Bake the Cake, I will say that. Having the custom little molds too for the cookies. I mean, that's pretty elite. Pretty elite, if I do say so myself. And yeah, obviously apologies for the grandioso pause that we had. We had a tech issue that took a little while to resolve, but we are getting into game. Do not worry. We're going to go in just a moment. And it may or may not have been to do with Poco, you know, revealing a little bit too much leg a little bit earlier on. We had to kind of censor that. And
we had to have a conversation with the FCC. Can we air that? Is it okay? Are we going to get fined? Those kind of things. But
it was close. But luckily, yes. Poco, being Poco, they looked at his face and they were like, okay, we'll let you off for this one.
Yeah.
That's your final warning.
Yeah.
We'll let it
He's
slide.
handsome
But we're in.
enough that that's fair. We are in game. We are on.
We are here.
What map is this? Nepal. Sorry, I've got to turn my caster brain on. It's been like 20 minutes.
Yes.
Usually you get into a rhythm, and these delays throw us off more than anything else. But Philadelphia Fusion, Los Angeles Gladiators. Philadelphia, of course, been a dominant team. The Gladiators showing us something a little bit different. And we hypothesized, mostly me, that Mir was going to be playing Zarya. It's also a hero that Space can play. So him right now, Mir, is on the Hammond, which I think Bishu played last week, but maybe Mir's just been on the Hammond grind. All right.
Maybe. I did say I wanted to see a little bit more Hammond. We might just get it here. I mean, it would also make sense for Azaya. I was about to say. Yeah. I was about to say it would also make a lot of sense for Azaya too. So there we go. The comp we kind of all expected, which is see Mirror in on the tank role. I'll re-say what I said earlier because, you know, long pause, brain slow, it catching up right now, and I can imagine everybody just kind of sitting back down at their PCs or TVs or wherever you're watching it on. But Mira did play Zaya in Goats, and he was pretty proficient at it. Didn't overly like the meta. I think that was just the length of time that it went on. But Mira is a fantastic all-round DPS player, can fulfill multiple roles quite easily. Kevster and Birdering, of course, on the DPS, and Kevster's Genji is something to be feared, but standing up to EQOs is going to be the main tail in this match. It was a very close cap for Gladiators there. Luckily, Fusion were able to get on the point just in time. Boombox has already expended that Immortality build. You can see the Discord orb on him as well, as the Gladiators take the position once again. And with that Immortality build this time, Fusion forced to kind of back off, and Boombox taking a world of hurt currently. He has earned himself a window, but meanwhile, though, Shaz and Big Goose get just dominated by Sato in the backline.
A bloodless first take. However, Philadelphia plays it super patient and just waits for the right time to come in. They will win this team fight and thus recapture the points. Ooh, some stragglers cleaned up as well. Sato, what happened there?
Booped off, maybe. But not like, well, booped off, maybe jumped, and then it didn't count as a... I don't know what happened. He died. He fell.
Yeah, I was going to say, why are you trying to answer? You don't know. I'm watching the same screen.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that is true.
Well, no one was in the kill feed on his side, which is why it was confusing. But sometimes those things register a little bit differently. Like, you can get booped, and if it's like a second too late, they don't get the credit for it.
He slipped on ice.
Yeah.
Look at the map.
It's alright, he'll be back. He'll be back.
Carpe, the AC-130 pulse bomb. No, he's not going to quite land it. More like a Predator missile at this range, I'd say. Oh, dearie me. Kevster has got the blade, though. Ikiro only just earning himself one as well. And Philadelphia Fusion in a good spot currently. There's the blade. Kevster instantly takes out EQO and takes out Carpe as well with one slash. Oh, Shaz helping him throughout that entirety of that blade with that Transcendence, keeping Kevster alive. Graviton Surge is going to get invested as well. Poco, you are not long for this world, I can imagine? No? The very late rally from Alarm. Poco just received a little bit of healing there from Boobox 2 to keep alive, and now he's got to grab his own. That's 3 people caught up. No, wait, they're surviving now. Carpe with a double pulse bomb kill on the top of the grab. Gladiators, they controlled the pulse. They controlled the point for just a little bit, but almost an instantaneous flip for the Fusion.
Yeah, a lot of the talk has been about Carpe's Tracer maybe not being like one of the best Tracers in the world, and just looking at stats. It's one of the times where I look at the stats and I'm like, well, I don't care. I really don't care. Because Carpe is able to get the kills when they matter. He's using Pulse Bomb as a combo, so maybe he's not this great like assassin Tracer, not solo carrying, but he's playing a team Tracer very well. I think about like the times when Orisa was halting people, Blizzard World, and then he gets Pulse Bombs. Like, he's doing his job as Tracer, and maybe it's not the flashiest Tracer in the world, but his team gets wins.
Just looking at the support ult charge right now, Shaz is very close to that Transcendence, should have it online, but time Kevster has the blade. Sato is touching the skybox currently. got a bit out of bounds. That won't count for, well, that'll count for any percent, but not glitchless, unfortunately. Sado ends up going down to Shaz of all people, and now the Transcendence is going to be online a little bit quicker. Kev's going to take out on Mortality Field and follow up the rest. Sado not being in that fight whatsoever. I want to know how that fight actually started out, because we only flipped to Sado when he was actually touching the skybox and actually in the air. And with no Sado, there's really no front line. I mean, you can rely on Zarya a little bit, but Shaz is going to get free damage down. That's a nice couple of ults saved up for the Gladiators as well.
Well, this one is all about going to be EQO in on the Blade and then Pulse, or excuse me, Shaz's Transcendence to defend it. So what you would love is if Carpe can hit a stick onto Shaz, force the Transcendence, and then Blade has free reign.
Well, that was close. OG almost got taken out. There's the stick. They're on the kill. Actually, OG not going for the supports. OG was so low out of that fight. EQO did so much damage. Immortality Field. Goodbye, Kevster. Too many defensive abilities for you to survive that one, unfortunately. You only have 200 HP and a Dream. No armor pack either, so you know, it's a very, very short-lived Blade. Philadelphia Gladiators,
they
not
gotta go
a bad spot at all.
They didn't force Transcendence either, which is brutal. And now Rally comes online for Big Goose. Los Angeles has every defensive tool that they need in the kit to work this one out. Maybe Boombox opens it up with a window, try to get some poke in, but that's not going to force any ults out. Gladiators in a great spot. Preemptive Rally.
Yeah, and they have that Graviton Surge on the line. They're just going to keep that, I can imagine. EQO is waiting for this rally so he can get armor and Blade with it, but I think it's just going to get grabbed. Speaking of grabs, right in the back line, Alarm, Sayonara. And enemy grab though coming through onto the Gladiators, but EQO has pulled the Blade. Can he follow this one up with any kills? That is the question. He's gotten one, but there's no way he can actually get to the point. He's way too low and has to back off as he sees the tanks and the Gladiators just steamrolling over Carpe. Even Carpe sub 60 HP now, has to play rather safe. Even hitting that recall button, didn't get any help back, and EQO ends up falling. Now it's a stalling game for Carpe as he used that Immortality Field to his best use. Armor stacking up 2 now as well. Still winnable for the Fusionist. Sardo's going to be able to come back with the Primal Rage. Can Carpe make this stick work? That is the question on everybody's lips. So the pulse goes in, narrowly avoids Big Goose, but in fact Shaz was the one that went down to a Goomba Stomp from Sardo, who makes it back to the point just in time and is about half a second away from being recapped by Fusion as well. There it is. Fusion now just need to survive. Mira's got the Graviton Surge online rather soon, but it's up to Sardo to try and force them out. Kevster's going to go in with the Blade. Immortality Field has been destroyed as well. Kevster's got free reign over this, but can't find anybody. Carpe eventually gets taken down. He gets grabbed on the point, but it's only Kevster with 20 HP. He gets rolled over by Poco. But can the rest of the team really corral around them? Now, Fusion have one more person that can get back to the point in time, and it's Poco, but he's all alone. Boombox and Alarm are nowhere to be seen, and the Gladiators will take the first stage.
I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with Mir. That was a very good Zarya that he was able to pull off, and maybe it wasn't always the grabs, but he was always getting damage done, always putting in solid damage. Philadelphia loses that way earlier if it's not for the really good stall by Carpe, waiting a long time just to get Alarm back in, and that rally saved Philadelphia Fusion's chances. That gets them the recap. But Mir is just going nuts on people, and this is why you put your damage dealers on the Zarya. That tracking is no joke, and the way Zarya works and get that damage in, and like I said, it may not be the reason you run Zarya, but it helps against the Genji. Deflect doesn't do anything against Zarya.
Yeah, luckily enough. Plus the bubbles too can help survive against a slash from the Blade. Slay's just super good right now, I feel, especially in these kind of comps.
I mean, I think they run it because
a lot of energy too.
I think you run it for dive, like just to help Winston out, being like the dive-in tank and help out your supports and everyone else who's diving. But it's an ancillary benefit that you're able to really deal with Genji well.
I wonder if they're ever going to put Alarm back on Zenyatta again. It's definitely the hero he made his name on. This Baptiste comp though, oh, he's just getting owned. As soon as that Immortality Field gets destroyed, you're way more vulnerable to things like people like Shaz. Early window for Boombox. Bit of an awkward angle though. Can't really fire out onto the point. They're forced to use it to actually get out of that small room. They were paying with their health bars for the majority of it. You can see OG how much cleave damage he was able to actually get off in that fight. He's almost got Primal Rage already. Point is unlocked as Philadelphia Fusion have a priority position on it, but OG's going to make sure they don't anymore. Pushing them away with the Primal Rage and paying attention to his backline, so it's going to have to be important. You don't want Shaz to instantly go down here. Graviton Surge used, invested early onto a single person from the Philadelphia Fusion. Poco goes down, should be a reset here for Philly as Gladiators end up capping.
In most situations, you would say, well, that's a grab that you don't necessarily need to use, but Mir is building grab every 90 seconds. And when you think about Graviton Surge, that's absurd. On the other half, it's 2 minutes and 13 seconds for Poco to build grab. So why not toss it in? Make sure you win a fight. Gladiators in firm control, 22 and counting up.
Yeah, you're spamming right-click as well, because when they dive in, they haven't got any mobility tools really to move out of the way again, right? So you'll be able to do so much damage. Plus, Immortality Field, when that goes down, everybody's huddled up together as well. You got a lot of energy if you're Mirror, as the Monkey just continues to dive in and charges that energy for you. So that's one of the reasons why he's getting this Graviton Surge online rather fast. Rally used by Big Goose up on the high ground, and now Mirror and OG have to back off as Birdring does end up going down. Now he's getting focused. Perfect Graviton Surge, but Transcendence coming out from Shaz isn't going to be enough. Too much damage from not only the pulse bomb, just the right clicks from EQO to take out OG and Kevster now. Instant reset onto Mirror. Shaz, my friend, you do not stand a chance, but EQO will spare your life for the time as the Gladiators lose control of the point, but have built up 63%.
I actually like disengaging there. Like, what's the point of dying to a Zenyatta there? Like, the kill doesn't net you anything. It doesn't get you anything. You might as well just leave. He's got to back up, so completely fine with the disengagement there. The Blade did everything it was supposed to do. Philadelphia will snag that point. But Mir has his Graviton Surge up yet again. Still sub 90 seconds on building grab. That's so impressive.
Just how he's going to use it, really. There's the grab on the Primal Raging Winston. He's on the bubble as well, so not a ton of damage actually going through to him. In the end, EQO dashing through Kevster, who pulled out the Blade, and now it's going to be up to Birdring to find these initial picks. Beautiful stick onto Poco. So now, with Poco dead and Kevster also falling, it's an equal trade, roughly. It's going to be up to Sado to play a little bit more safe around his supports, get the rally armor to go in then, because he doesn't have those shields from the Xayah. However, Fusion still control the point. And even with Gladiators on the high ground, they're still the ones to actually make the move. The longer they take, the better it is for the Fusion.
Well, they have rally advantage, and they're just going to pop it right now. Alarm had used his, and now the armor is dissipating, so the Gladiators should have a better fight here.
Kevster goes down in the 1v1 again, but EQA at least gets traded. Transcendence being used aggressively from the Gladiators. I know Poco before did use that Graviton Surge, so they're betting and they're hoping that Shaz can now build a Transcendence before Poco can build that grab, but it's looking unlikely for the time being as he's up to 80% now. Birdring almost earning himself a Pulse 2, a beautiful stick onto OG, taking out the tanks. It's like Tracer of old. Tanks hated Tracer before, that Pulse 1 did so much damage, but yeah, Carpe taking us back. Gladiators still man up though. As I say, Poco ends up just killing himself in order to reset quicker. 80% now on the board. Gladiators looking like they're going to take control rather easily.
Mir got another grab during that fight. He is at 1 minute and 24 seconds per Graviton. That is ridiculous. For context, Poco at 211, and Poco's not playing poorly. This grab might be the difference, though. It's Poco going to come in. They're going to have Blade for this, too, and maybe they can even rally to start this off because Gladiators only need to win one more fight.
Grab Blade. Philly needs to win about 2 with about 70% on the board. There's the rally to see them through the doors. Graviton Surge from downtown. Shaz hasn't got that ult yet either. No ults for the Gladiators as well, so I think they're kind of happy with the reset, although Fusion did end up actually taking the point a little bit earlier on in that fight. Don't know if that's going to actually come back to bite Gladiators, but they've definitely got a full fight left. 20% on the board for the Fusion to tie this control map up.
With no Sigmas and no Divas, pretty much every one of these grabs have been yeeted in from downtown. It's been the most long-range grab map I've seen in quite a while. Gladiators will have Rally to push in and a Blade and Transcendence. Good spot here.
Yeah, Shaz is not going to be in a good spot though. Yeah, instant bubble, yeah. You have to just peel for Shaz right now. He has the Transcendence. This is going to be the game-winning ult. If he can mitigate EQO's Blade, or they can just kill EQ off Vanilla, it's going to be a good look for the Gladiators. Kevster with Blade 2 and armor on board. Fusion let go of the point, and now it's all Gladiators. They need to be able to touch, and they do just that. Still Shaz. Just mental steel, really, holding on to this Transcendence for longer than what seemingly was possible. But Boombox ends up going down to the Blade. Another cut down for Kevster. That's a 4K. Thank you very much. Poco and EQO bite the dust, and the Gladiators, they're going to take control.
Kevster definitely worth the wait here. Finally shows up enormous with a 4K on the Blade. And really, I think it's just compositionally, I mean, having both Rally and Transcendence is better utility than having the Amplification Matrix. Matrix is not a very great ult. The other team just leaves. It's an ult that buys you time, and maybe you can catch somebody off guard with it, but it's not as good as Rally. The teams kind of matched rallies. They use them at the same time, but then having the Transcendence available is just enormous for your team, and then it allows Kevster to get the Giant Blades in. But so far, like, you know, Mir has played Zarya before, of course, in Goats, but it's a different animal here. It's kind of... you're not the only damage dealer on this composition, but right now Mir has 26% of his team's damage. He's leading his team's damage. I've been impressed with this Zarya so far. We'll see if he stays in, though. Maybe this is only a control map strategy.
Yeah, quite a bit of history on Zarya, like I mentioned before, as he did play it in Goats. And if I were you at this point, yeah, probably worthwhile sticking in with Mirror, to be honest. Just go full A. Just play the whole series with him on the off-tank and see how he does. We aren't going to a break, by the way. Of course, there was a humongous pause before.
We've had enough. We've had enough breaks.
We've had enough.
Yeah.
I am kind of sick and tired of it. I just want to see more Overwatch. I want to get into the series and get into the meat of it, really. And remember, Gladiators coming into this this week and just this series as well, Hex, not looking so hot, like, at all. Rather lukewarm at best for the Gladiators. And it's been kind of shocking. I was really hoping that with Kevster and Mirror that they would just show up just almost instantly. They were players that were destined for the Overwatch League, for sure. Birdring as well, a veteran player at this point. There was no way, I don't think they were going to be able to perform, but that was my thoughts at the start of the season. And the last few weeks have been, yeah, rather lackluster, very inconsistent. It's nice to see them changing things up too, bringing Mirror from the DPS role, putting him on a very familiar hero like the Zarya, and right now is working out for them, so I would be surprised if they end up changing.
Yeah, I mean, what I mentioned in the pre-show, which was about 4.5 hours ago now, I think, was they've just been unremarkable. Like, are the Gladiators good? Kinda. Are they bad? No, not really, but they're just unremarkable. They're middle of the pack, like the definition of middle of the pack. And I think right now bringing in new players and having a new strategy gives them an identity. I feel like the Gladiators have absolutely lacked an identity, and maybe Kevster is the identity. Maybe it's like, wow, they've got this Zarya player now, and like, that's crazy. And we'll see how things adjust when we don't have hero pools, but I mean, just the very small sample size of Mir on Zarya in the Overwatch League, that looked really good. Having a grab up every 90 seconds, that's like every fight. That's absurd. Like, that wins you games.
Yeah, look at that, 25 elims per 10 minutes as well. Just absurd. 11, almost 12k damage per 10. Mirror looking all so good on the Zarya, and it does look like they're not subbing Matt either. So, I mean, hey, like I said before, you just keep him in. If he's performing this well and against a team like Fusion, absolutely. He's on a roll, he's on a tear, and the break definitely not phasing him whatsoever. And it is someone's birthday, mind you, as well. Let's talk about this just for a moment. Captain Planet, happy birthday to you, my friend. Thank you for being around all this long time, and always having you... always enjoying you having in the WoW raids as well, even though if you do me by passes, I'll never forgive you for that.
It's a great picture.
Happy birthday to you, and amazing stats work you do behind the scenes.
Yeah, I love that picture. Some tats and some stats. Also, it doesn't do him justice, because Captain Planet's actually, like, low-key pretty swole. Like, not the biggest dude, we're about the same size, but he is definitely cut up. I think he was a former gymnast, and you can tell. Like, he puts t-shirts to work, man. I guess he's in pretty good shape.
Pretty
but yeah, all the work he's done. And it's kind of crazy what he did. Like, he wasn't in Owl, and he was still doing all these stats breakdowns and everything. Like, that's the kind of, like, guy who just, I'm just going to get myself a job. I'm just going to do all the work, and then they have to hire me. And it worked for Ben. Worked for a lot of us, actually, to be honest. So people ask, how do you get in esports? Just do it, and then someone will hire you eventually. Hopefully.
Yeah. Eventually, hopefully, maybe.
Some luck involved. There's a little luck. Yeah.
Everything's got sprinkling a bit of luck here. That is for sure. Let's have a look at some of the highlights, though, from that last map. Gladiators, like I mentioned, they came in very... Oh, okay, that's how Sado died. Okay. So he just forgot to land on the floor. I was like, no, there's no way someone didn't, like, boop him and maybe he touched the ledge before he went off and he was holding the S key or something. No, he just didn't short hop and fell off the map. Whoops, daisy.
Yeah, Sado
happens.
Sometimes. Yeah, no, it happens. We've all made those mistakes, and you just blame your teammates and move on. And that's really the only reasonable thing to do, is to blame all of your teammates and try to move on with your life.
Yeah,
I think we have a sub
have control of your keyboard.
Yeah, I think we have a sub for Philly. what we're waiting on just now. As we tried to not take a break, we're going to have Fury coming in for Poco. So maybe, I don't know, Poco was always thought of as like the Rosaria ace. So when I think of Fury, I think of like D.Va, like Team Liquid D.Va was like, I mean, Fury's been in the game for a long, long time. So we'll see who he wants to play. But
we are going on to Iconvold, though.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe a D.Va here, just because you can get to high ground a lot easier, especially on the second point, would make a lot of sense.
It's pure
you don't necessarily. It's hard to like mitigate the Zaya's just upfront damage, especially as the beam goes through defense matrix. However, obviously eating a grav is a potential, and eating the right clicks as well can stop Mira from building up these gravs every 90 seconds, which is definitely one of the reasons why they won Nepal.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Also, yeah, eating grav. The gravs that we saw from both sides, really, on Nepal, were long distance. They were just yeeted in from downtown, and because there was nothing to really stop them. Unless Genji's got like this god-tier deflect, like it just wasn't going to happen. So we saw long distance grabs happen a lot. Maybe that's why Fury comes in. I'm just happy to see Fury playing again. Like I thought it was a great pickup for Philadelphia to have him. Hasn't seen a ton of play time. But also maybe they just want to get Poco off camera. They're like, hey, dude, that can't happen. That's bad for PR.
You got to stop, man.
I think it's good for PR. Like the first 6 threads on Reddit were all about Poco. Like that's all publicity is good publicity, I guess.
It's the French tanks. I don't know what it's about. And they got chiseled jawlines and just jacked like Poco. I don't know. Fusion on the defense. Gladiators on the offense. I want to see some D.Va from Fury. I wouldn't be too surprised if they do play the Zaya to start off with maybe more a bit of Sigma as well. Wouldn't be too surprised with that either.
Yeah.
Because obviously the first point a little bit more enclosed. You don't really need the high ground. What the 1 bit of high, no, the 2 bits of high ground, the archway, and then the bar area. Like, you don't really needed D.Va for those, so it kind of makes sense why they're running Fury on Zarya here. Maybe we'll see a little bit of D.Va.
Yeah, it's the only thing that's still concerning to me about Philadelphia is having the Brig and Baptiste together. While in a bubble it seems like the right comp, Brig and Bat, but it just seemed like the utility that Transcendence offers, both offensively and then defensively to shut down some ultimates, was what was lacking. Boombox was like an OG, this is the Zen kind of guy. He can play it, so can Alarm, but right now they're opting out of that composition where most teams have played a Zenyatta in the last couple of matches.
Yeah, we always talk about Gladiators' backline as being very, very reliable, and you can kind of count on them, but would you call them reliable like anymore? I don't know, because their performance, like as a team as a whole, has been kind of lackluster, and it's hard to really showcase support.
Lately, there have been
teams just kind of flopping.
I think it's mostly because there's been so many really, really good supports enter the league that, whereas Big Goose and Shaz used to be looked at as top tier, now it's like they're middle of the pack, so people think they're bad. If that makes sense. The perception is strange.
I understand. That makes complete sense. A very short Oh, but did he get knocked off? No, he didn't. Oh my word! I was extraordinarily scared there for OG. I saw him got flailed mid-air, and I thought he just got yeeted off the map, but that wasn't the case. He does end up going down anyway, as he was out of position, but that'll be just extra ult charge for EQO. 60% on the play, kept just beating him out just for the time being, but very slow start for the offense of Gladiators.
Yeah, nothing has really happened. There's been 1 kill the entire map so far, as the offense had lost their main tank. Really hard to do a dive without a Winston.
And you have to set Shaz up as well. Discord orb on a squishy, and then you can kind of go in. Or even on a tank, of course. You can choke those out rather easily. But getting the angle can be a little bit tough here. Oh, what a shot onto Carpe. Oh, my word. Thank God we were on the Shaz's POV for that one. Right over the payload. Blade for Kevster. You see the Immortality Field doing its job. Kevster dashing through literally everybody, though. Still doing a fair bit. If you can kill that Immortality Field while they're all low, it's going to be an easy clean-up. There you go. I said it, and it happened right there. Shaz finding yet another 2 kills, in fact. A lot of that Fury end up going down to the hands of Shaz. That will be Gladiators having the first point.
I mean, it's just one of those hits that you take as a tracer that makes you think, illogically, nerf Zen. Zen is like perfectly balanced, but you're like, no, that shouldn't happen. I shouldn't die to that long distance. Or it just, I mean, he's not aiming for Carpe. He's aiming at a spot, and Carpe had to be there.
Hashtag buff Zen.
Hashtag buff Zen. Hashtag fire jaws.
No. No. Buff Zen.
Zen is fine.
Buff
Zen does not need to be balanced. He's in a perfect spot.
Listen to this. Transcendence also does AoE like fire damage. Huh?
Okay. As someone who hated Pyro in TF2, I know.
Pretty cool.
For that reason, I know.
Doesn't really make a lore sense either, but pretty cool. Sado ends up dying. This fight should be over already. I say that. Carpe's still hunting in the back line. Wants to try and find Shaz. If he can force out an immortality field here, or a stick, that would be great. Carpe almost dies to his own pulse bomb there, but immortality field is actually going to save him. However, double grabs on top of each other. This is going to aid the team with enough cleave. OG and Birdring and Kevster just piling all the damage into Fury. He instantly died, and there's no defensive tools. Gladiators steamrolling through the second point already. Not too many ults available for Fusion either. They threw a lot into that fight. This rally advantage is going to be pretty big for the Gladiators.
It's just going to be the support advantage when they're running a Zen Brig and the other team is not. I mean, is Amplification Matrix worth rally? No. Is it worth Transcendence? No.
He landed that stick, you serious? Oh my god. Boombox didn't know exactly what hit him. Kevster using the blade, lost the Xayah, but the Xayah also lost herself. Kevster gets booped yet again, but still a little bit of damage done. Fury gets chased up by OG. Now Fusion just slowly but surely getting bled out. Carpe is going to at least find one kill, but it's all Kevster, this push. There's 2 kills for him, and it should be a couple of more resets. Immortality field used, just burning some more time. And Gladiators, this is a brand new look for them. Yeah, against the Philadelphia Fusion 2, mind you, did go to the finals with the Paris Eternal in the Summer Showdown. This is the Gladiators I was expecting to see over the last couple of months that just haven't appeared.
So I'd like to do these little quizzes with you. With that kill from Carpe, how many kills do you think Philadelphia has total?
Oh, 6.
2.
Well, wow, I gave them a lot more credit than I thought there. Jeez, 2? 2 question mark? 2? Okay, a little bit more now you could expect. Carpe stuck on the wrong side of the wall there, but Immortality Field's going to save Sado, but not for long. Instant burst down from Birdring. There's the blade, there's the death. Boombox ending his life so fast with the window. That's a back off. That makes 4 kills now. Boombox taking 2 of those. Thank you very much. And that'll be the reset. However, Fusion in a good spot, though, Hex. With Miro burning that grab, they have Graviton advantage and they have Blade. But they have to bait out Shaz's Transcendence. So they're either going to Blade first or use that grab, make sure Shaz pays for it with the ult, and then follow up with the next one.
One of the two should make them use Transcendence. However, they still, again, have enormous rally advantage. 85% for Big Goose. I was rounding up. I was hoping there it is. And they're going to have the rally afterwards. So I think you would just grab, force out Trance, and then rally Blade.
Well, Eco's dead, so that Transcendence doing a whole bunch of work, and now they could just push on. Birdring managed to snipe EQ out with the help of the Discord Orb. Another beautiful thing, that Discord Orb helping the Tracers almost insta-kill DPS. That rally's going to be pretty big as well. Showers is going to be very hard to take down. Even harder because EQO, he may have this rally going in, Hex, but still doesn't have a damage amplifying ability like Mercy Beam, like Bongo or the Nano Boost. So it's going to be so tough. We've seen Kev's Blade kind of fall flat, but that's just a symptom of the compositions and unable to actually follow up with anything. His armor's looking so good. EQO dies again! Discord Orb instantly cut down by Kevster. Absolute warlord. Shaz is going to get stuck, maybe. No, it was actually Birdring that goes down to that, but Carpe's dead. There's the blade, there's the grab, the rally's coming out, but it's not going to matter. A counterplay for Kevster. There's 1, there's 2. The Gladiators going to sink it home on 3rd point. 1 minute and 42 remaining. This is what you wanted to see if you're a Gladiators fan.
Worth the wait if you're an LA Gladiators fan. An absolute shellacking of the Philadelphia Fusion. 32-5 is the elimination count.
My
5! The Philadelphia Fusion just got 5 kills on a map. I don't care who their opponent is. That's... Mirror didn't die. Big Goose didn't die. Neither of them died.
So, you know we're talking about dependable support players and consistent support players. Yeah, they're looking back to their old selves, it seems. Big that is ridiculous.
Okay, Philadelphia is finally going to run Zenyatta. I mean, I really think the Betis put them at the disadvantage there. It's just not a good enough ultimate. Bap is a great player. Really, really good. good damage, good healing. But the ultimate disadvantage that they put themselves at by running that was probably the difference there.
See, I don't even think it was the ultimate disadvantage. I think it was just Discord Orb.
Well, yeah, it helps. It helps a lot.
But like the amount of times EQO on that last push was killed, and every single time you saw Shaz was in the kill feed with the Discord Orb. It was either Kevster or Birdering killing EQO off. And that whole combo we were talking about, the flow chart of Overwatch, you have to force out the Transcendence, so you either Blade or Grab, and then you can follow up the other one. Well, now we can't because EQO's dead. Yeah. And now they have Rally, and now Shaz is going to be immortal.
Maybe the thought process is that Immortality Field is good enough to replace some of those things, but it's just not with these ults that last so long. Like, Immortality Field's not going to save you from a grab. It's going to take 2 swings of a blade, maybe, but like, it's just not good enough.
Much quicker offense here from the Fusion. Boombox's Zenyatta definitely is one of his more famous heroes, but same with Alarm. They've got a lot of good Zen players on their team. Ooh, Kevster pays the price for being a little bit too far up. Now the Philadelphia Fusion in a very, very good position. They can just sit on point, force the Gladiators to come to them. Fury can just bubble whoever gets jumped on. And Maru's rather low energy, not just a moment to go, and Birdering and Shaz are going to be able to clean them up. Look how aggressive, by the way, they're able to play along this small... You don't normally see teams play there because you can get booped off fairly easily, but if Shaz and Birdering are able to two-man that, it's kind of absurd. Boombox, of course, there to help Shaz stay alive as well. Nice little defense. And a staggering of kills as well on the Fusion side. EQO and Saturn now only just spawning. Just make sure Gladiators are at full fighting force too. There's going to be 6 people on the point. However, 33% taken for the Fusion, so not the worst start in the world.
Yeah, but not great. Only 2.5 minutes left here to try to get this first point, and there is ult disadvantages for the Philadelphia Fusion. Shaz and Big Goose are leading their counterparts when these support ults come online. That was close.
Yeah. Oh.
I kind of like that he didn't go to the pack right away, because that's like one way to get yourself finished off, is they're just going to aim at the pack.
Yeah.
Small little thing.
Oh my goodness. I think that was a right click from Boombox there. Double headshot onto Birdering. Insta-killing. God, it's good seeing Zen play again, I'll tell you that right now. EQO with the early deflate, but he has got Blade coming up. Transcendence already been used, and Kevster's going to lay that on top. Oh, Kevster. Oh, Fusion didn't know what hit him. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 kills for the Genji. And a whole team kill for the Gladiators as well. 2 minutes remains in the time bank for the Fusion to crack this first point.
It's always nice to hear that team bell siren going off there. Philadelphia has everything they need to win this next fight, and they just got Transcendence out. Rally is good. It's not as good as Transcendence, I think, against defending against Grab or Blade, and they will have both Grab and Blade and everything else more will the Philadelphia Fusion. This is one of those, on paper, Philadelphia should not lose this at all.
Okay, I really like the early rally here to mitigate Mira's grab, or at least try to. He lobs it downtown, finds absolutely nobody, but a reactive Transcendence is thrown out nonetheless. Boombox now fading away from that. It's going to have to be a little bit more careful of Kevster, who's nearing that Blade. Also the Pulse Bomb from Birdering. This is a perfect engagement tool, but the Blade and the grab's going to get used. In fact, the Pulse Bomb, the whole shebang is thrown into that grab. That's how you win the first point decisively. The Fusion cleaning up the Glads, and they're going to be able to claim the payload.
The whole kit and or caboodle thrown in there from the Los Angeles Gladiators. Or, excuse me, the Philadelphia Fusion, as they had to use everything, and getting the Transcendence out the previous fight was really the most important thing. Let's see what this replay looks like. Carpe, he's just really good at finishing combos. Whether it's halt, whether it's grab, whether it's whatever, he's in the right place at the right time. Stats be damned.
Yeah, they didn't want to have that fight last too long. I'm not too surprised. The Pulse Bomb generation from Carpe is somewhat ridiculous. Oh, to the back line with Kevster. Oh, it just looks so good when he plays Genji, man. You see what I mean? Kevster wasn't in the league for such a long time, and it was always a question of why he wasn't in it. And as soon as I saw that Gladiators were picking up this man, I was like, finally we get to see him on the big stage. It's been so long that he's been resting in EU and just training, you know, in the mountains somewhere. And this is what we get to see on a... yeah, exactly, in the forest with Snillo, picking some mushrooms to cook. You know, it's good that we're seeing Kevster in the league, and it's amazing that the world gets to see how good he is on DPS.
I mean, he's only got 31% of his team's damage and only 14 Dragon Blade kills. I don't know why you're hyping him up.
I mean, okay. All right, back to the game at hand. 2 minutes remains for the Fusion. They've got a whole lot of ults in the bank. Our Gladiators have got that important Transcendence and the Rally in this next fight, but Fusion obviously going to be able to match them with it. It's about Carpe and what he can get done with this Pulse Bomb. Forcing out the Transcendence would be perfect, or even just sticking it to Big Goose as well. You can see him now hunting, waiting. He sees that everybody, even the stick is still going to land. Transcendence? No? No, he does not. In fact, that got bubbled by Mirror.
Yeah.
So completely mitigated. Perfect timing from the Xayah.
And that's just trust from Shaz. Because you get stuck like that, like you really do want to use the Transcendence, but here's the Transcendence now.
There it is. Yes, forced out. Now look at Ikkyo. Has that tick next to his name. Sado's going to get punished for being so aggressive, but he even had Primal Rage to kind of fall back on it. Even Birdring ends up going down. Slowly but surely, Fusion are moving this payload. Ikkyo gets grabbed, doesn't use the blade, but they're still managing to move the payload. This is still pretty good from the Fusion. However, this fight is taking a rather long time to actually finish up. Fury ends up going down in the end. Alarm and Sado are going to fall as well. And now Fusion have a minute remaining in their time bank to try and push it to second.
And the cart did not go over the bridge, so now it's still in this super dangerous spot. That's the only reason I kind of gasp at OG using Primal there, is because Primal on this spot on the bridge, if you get forced to fight there, is enormous. Sado's going to have it. OG just used it. I think, do you go through Castle here?
30 seconds.
You have to deal with Ikkyo first. He has got the key to the door of the castle, and that key is in the shape of a blade. Birdring's going pretty low too. They're going to have to make a move at some point. You can see Carpe just pressuring the payload. It's actually moved a fair bit.
Yeah, you just
bridge
don't want it in the middle.
Capsule blade, Ikkyo's going to match. Fury has grab now, this is it. Grab, blade, this could be all that they need. Shaz has already gone down. Yeah, Ikkyo's going to have a free blade, completely free blade. Oh, that fight was over before it even started. That looked like a good position for the Gladiators to already be in there. With Kevster having blade plus Birdring 2 with the pulse, but man, that split off. Everybody was kind of isolated in their own small little battles, and when those small little battles are dominated with blades and just a Winston pressuring out the backline, you're going to lose fairly fast unless you reactively use the support ultimate, which Gladiators did not have. Fusion still with a minute remaining as they move on to the castle phase.
Yes, only a minute though, and they have to get this push done here. Gladiators are nearing their support ultimates, and Blade and Pulse Bomb and Grab coming online. The economy in good position. However, Philadelphia can match, which means it's all about execution here. Where did
Gladiators need support ults. They need support ults right now. Big Goose is going to go super low. Shaz is going to go down 1% away from Transcendence as well. This could quite easily be a cap here for the Fusion. They're Transcendencing to make sure they can stay alive. Hikuo's blade, just forget about it. It's now up to Kevster to try and find something. Luckily, Big Goose can get back in time with a rally at hand, make sure Kevster's more than safe to use the blade. 240 HP with a grab at hand as well. There's the blade, there's the grab. Transcendence on top as well. 22 seconds remains, and Kevster finds yet another 3K. They might just be held just before this third point. They've potentially got another touch, but it's looking unlikely, Hex.
Absolutely unlikely. The Gladiators blew their whole entire bank, and right now you can just send OG with Primal. He's going to do just that. Stop everyone from even coming in. Can anyone touch?
Payload's moving back. They can't touch! The Primal Rage from OG at the very end, and Los Angeles Gladiators have taken the Fusion on yet another map. 2-0 in this series already. We had a long pause, and that pause, Hex, they might just be as long as this series at this point. Match point for the Gladiators now.
I mean, we said the Gladiators need an identity, right? And now they brought in Mir on Zarya, who probably carried their map 1. And this was Kevster's map. Let me read you this ridiculous stat line. 45 eliminations, 22 final blows, only 3 deaths. The next closest on his team was Birdring with 16 final blows, but Birdring died a ton. He had 7 deaths. Kevster with the hard carry on Genji. In this meta, if you don't have a Genji, you don't got nothing. The Gladiators showing up big. I did not think I would be saying the Gladiators up 2-0 over the Philadelphia Fusion going into halftime. This could be a statement victory for the Gladiators of, we are not an unremarkable team. In fact, we are quite remarkable. We just beat the Philadelphia Fusion, 1 map away.
It's the big turnaround in the season for them. Lackluster, to say the very least. the last couple of weeks, and in the countdown, in the summer showdown even, sorry. We're going to jump to a quick break. We're going to cool off just a little bit. Maybe Poco's coming back in. We'll have to wait and see. That might be why I'm getting so hot in here. We're going to jump to Watch Point after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Welcome to our last and final game break presented by Cheesy Grooves. Zoe here, joined by Costa, as well as Reinforce, and the Gladiators are coming in hot. They have been looking absolutely impressive, so let's talk about what is giving them the edge in the first two maps. Starting, of course, with Nepal. We saw both teams coming out with similar comms. However, it was one player who really stood out, and that was Mirror on that Zarya. Costa, what are your impressions? Because I believe this is the first time we're really seeing him on this role.
Yeah, a lot of us were really surprised to see him in the lineup. We did guess that it was going to be for his Zarya. Obviously played it during, a lot of DPS played Zarya during the GOATS meta, and he just put on an absolute clinic. Hex was praising him, and deservedly so. He was getting grabs time after time. He was using them confidently. He was using them to close out fights. He was just getting in so much damage, and you saw it on the second map as well. Just really confident play, getting the right bubbles at the right time, and it's just really impressive to see from someone that we haven't really seen a whole lot from. So I'm really excited for this Gladiators team. There's so many different people popping off on this roster right now.
On the other side, though, I'd like you to also talk about Poco. Poco also playing that Zarya. You haven't seen Poco for a while. What were your thoughts on them having him in and then also subbing him out for the second map?
Yeah, me and Johnny were actually talking about this when we were watching the game. We were trying to work out, like, Poco did have a good Xayah back in, like, 2018 when, you know, there was a lot of flexibility going around. But now we saw them switch to Fury as well. They've both been solid, and they definitely haven't been that lackluster. But it hasn't been to the level that we've seen from Mira. There's definitely a little bit of holes. I'm also really curious to why they're going between Poco and Fury. I have a lot of questions surrounding what the Philadelphia Fusioners team is doing because they don't look exactly like themselves. Doesn't matter how good the Gladiators are. There is something going on with them.
Yeah, I think they were a bit very comfortable in the Summer Showdown when they played this composition with Genji as well, but back then you had the nano boost and you could sit back a little bit more. Remember the Summer Showdown finals when they actually sat back a bit more than EQO could clutch up? Well, now you don't have as many tools at your disposal, and the Gladiators are really utilizing this at winning the neutral matchups. They're playing very aggressively and doing a nice job at doing so because they keep catching the Philadelphia Fusion off guard and then capitalizing off of the aggression from OG, and Mirror has free reign on the Zarya, and then Kevster's Dragon Blades have been so on point. And keep in mind as well that there is no like real transcendence to stop this, because large majority of the time Alarm was actually not playing on the Brig, and then you had Boombox on the Baptiste, so they were playing a different composition from the Gladiators, and it didn't pay off for them.
How do you feel in general with that Zen in the mix there as well? It is a greedy pick, but worth its while when it works out.
I think the Transcendence ult is just so good, and we see it time and time again. It does a very good job of countering Graviton Surges. It does a really good job of countering Dragon Blades. And if you put those things together, if you can charge it fast, there's teamfight ultimates that you're saving right there. And just the amount of damage that you do. Look at the amount of offensive and defensive assists we're seeing from Shaz come out here. And he's not even dying that much. I think it's a greedy pick. But if you can stay alive, you can do so much damage. And especially with the Discord changes as well that have come through recently, it just seems like such a good pick. And it's awesome to see Shaz back on it because he's just been a veteran since 2018.
I mean, it's certainly helping if your frontline is putting out an absolute clinic and so much pressure that you are not really having too much to fear and worry about up in the backline as is Zenyatta. Looking at our crunch time presented by Cheesy Grooves, it had to be Kevster. He has just been outstanding on that Genji role. I think he died like, 3 times on that last map? Incredible.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal so far, and this is a role we didn't really expect him to play because he was a hit scan player back in Contenders, but now he brought out the Genji. His Dragon Blades have been superb, like quite honestly, these are some of the best Dragon Blades like we've seen in the league, and he's doing everything he can for this Gladiators team as they are taking it to the Fusion. I think the Fusion expected to be able to shut this down with Brigitte play and then the Immortality Field from Baptiste. But the Gladiators, they don't care. They just mow down the Fusion, and Kevster is getting so much value from these Dragon Blades, and I think that is a big problem for the Fusion. They didn't expect Genji to have so much impact, and now they're starting to retort to this, and Yara, as we saw in the later half of Eichenwalde, but it's an uphill battle, and I think they have to find a way to shut down Kevster's Genji play, because it has been superb so far this match.
Yeah, it's been incredibly clean, but as you said, Zoe, they just aren't killing him. They don't seem to have a solution to what Kevster is doing. He's getting so many final blows, he's getting so many eliminations, but they're not getting the punish. Usually when we see Genji's going as aggressive and getting so many kills, they're generally getting punished a lot more. But Kevster's just seems to be walking around just doing whatever he wants. So if I'm looking at the Philadelphia Fusion, it has to come to the backline in finding a way to deal with these dives from the LA Gladiators because they look confident and they look to be applying so much pressure that it's really hard for Philadelphia Fusion to do anything.
All right. Well, it's gonna be tough. That's all I can say. I expected this to potentially be a close match, but I honestly did not see the Gladiators being such a dominant force. They need to shut down Kevster and co, but can they get it done in the second half? We'll find out soon as we are heading over to Volskaya next.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey guys, welcome back. This is Gladiators taking on the Fusion. Right now, 2-0 for the Gladiators as they take Eichenwald. And it's potentially another 3-0 as well. The Gladiators are looking so good with Kevster in the lineup. And Mira as well on an off-tank role playing the Xayah is looking pretty clean.
I don't think anyone expected this. I think we expected close matches. There's a rumor that ZP predicted 3-0 Gladiators and that he will win a year's supply of Diet Cola from our friend Seth. So backroom dealings, apparently. We are not immune to just being fans of the game. But I didn't see that. I did not see. I thought maybe a 3-1, right? I thought, yeah, Gladiators are good enough to take a map off of Philadelphia. But this seems like a Philadelphia that we've seen before that just sometimes they phone it in, mail it in. There's been nothing good about Philadelphia really so far. So they're going to make a few changes here, Jaws.
Yeah, there they are. But I don't know if you noticed the cool swish-looking t-shirts that we got on. You can find them at shop.overwatchleague.com/hero if you want to look as sharp and as jacked as we do right now. You can find them on there, and your favorite team, you can pick one up. But yes, they do have some swaps coming in for Philly. And a DPS swap. Not Chipsa, unfortunately. It's actually going to be Hisu coming in for EQO. And we got Astro coming in for the support as well.
Yeah. Just get back to the shirts. I'm on the verge of being 2-0 on my shirt game. So if you want your team to win, just send me your team shirts. Apparently I'm the good luck charm there because...
Wait, I actually might be 2-0.
Well, if I'm 2-0, then you would be 0-2.
Then I would be 2-0, yeah. Okay, yeah. Maths, it checks out, funnily enough. Oh no, I'm sorry, Philly. I wore your shirt today. Unlucky.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been a really interesting day. The first couple of matches went very quickly, like record-setting kind of quickly, and we expected that.
Yep.
But like I said, I think if the Gladiators can pull off this 3-0, and look, Philadelphia is a team that loves to go to map 5. They somehow always get good coaching in halftime, always bring it back, and like there's definite reverse sweep potential. But if the Gladiators are able to pull this off, not only will they be, I think, 3rd or 2nd in the standings because they'll be undefeated with a great map differential. It's a statement game. It's a kind of an arrival game for the Gladiators. Like I said, they've just been kind of milling about. They're middle of the pack. Like, yeah, they're fine. They're not bad. They're not good. We don't talk about them as one of the best teams, nor do we talk about them as one of the worst. They've been the definition of middle of the pack. But if you come out and you 3-0 Philly, I don't care what Philly that you're playing against, that puts people on notice that you're a legitimate team going forward.
Just wait for Hisu to get back in the lobby and then we should be good to go. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just such a heartbreak for Philly, I think. Just coming off such a tough and close loss in the Summer Showdown finals against Paris. And then going against Gladiators, who everybody definitely thought was struggling. And Gladiators is turning up to not even 11 to like 15 and beyond. And kind of smacking you down on Eichenwald. Like, that game, especially when you look at the elims and the deaths, like, it wasn't that close. Like,
no, I mean,
regardless of how far they made it, it was absurd.
The Gladiators' offense was ridiculous. Philadelphia got there close, but Gladiators were really good about managing their ultimates, and I think that has kind of been the difference between these two teams, is always having the right ultimate at the right time. Gladiators come in the last second with a Grav and Blade, and you just know it's over at that point.
Well, we are heading to Voskaya. Not every...
I do like map chat.
Okay.
Like, chat being on is fun.
Ready for battle.
Okay. Okay, very cool, very cool.
Okay, so what do you think about these... What do you think about these substitutions coming in? We've got Philadelphia's the one that made subs. Obviously, like, Funny Astro gets to come back in. They've got Hisu right now on the Sombra, but that's on offense, so who knows. Gladiators are going to run the same thing that they've mostly run. The one thing I want to Gladiators to improve a little bit is Birdwing has been super aggressive, and he's been caught out a lot. He had 7 deaths in the last map, which was not great, led his team.
I mean, sorry, I'm laughing at Daniel Hathaway, and Kev's not being able to spell that correctly. Well done. Well, there you go. Second language, pretty true, actually. So Kevster, you can let off for that one. But anyway, going back to that, I got distracted like completely. My brain is turning off slowly. Funny Astro, obviously coming in, would be expected to play the Lucio, so a way more aggressive dive. And I like the fact that Hisu's in 2 with the Sombra. You can force OG to play super defensively here, and Kevster too. If they dive in and Hisu plays a defensive style Sombra where he waits for one of the DPS or tanks to dive in, hack them, they are instantly dead, no question about it.
Yeah, definitely the healing output is much greater for the Philadelphia Fusion with a Moira and a Lucio. However, the range is interesting, but Carpe punishes OG. Philadelphia just steamroll this, and that's what the composition's designed to do.
Yeah, just run over people, and that's exactly what they did. No Discord Orb, no worries. Very, very fast. Like you said, the healing output isn't crazy, especially as Brig, you like throw out a few of your armor packs. If you can't get in swing distance with someone, or even like Rocket Flow, like the shift to hit somebody, your healing output's going to be pretty low. And if Fusion take these obscure routes, even like diving up onto the high ground, it's tough for Big Goose to get really anything done. And that mirrors in his ult charge. Only 35% now coming into this second point as Fusion have almost got a Coalescence plus the beat online. Well,
before 222 became a thing, like having a Lucio and Moira as your healers was just called the Slambulance. Like you just throw it in there, you get as fast as possible, and you heal way much than the other team. And now Philadelphia is coming online with some ultimates here. You'd think they'd wait for Coalescence and push into it.
Yeah, Astro's gun too. I must say, the Lucio gun is a rather interesting projectile to get hold of, but Astro definitely being one of the best Lucios in the world. And you can tell that just by his aim on the Lucio, and the amount of damage that he can output is just absurd. He has the beat online as they use the Cole. Instant beat as the blade came through, and Kevster didn't even get a slash off. It looked like he was already taken care of. The beat might have not even been needed, but to make sure you can pressure out the rest of the abilities and even the ultimates from Gladiators, it was probably worthwhile. Although I say that is, Carpe does end up falling to Shaz of all people, even Sado too. Shaz was basically baiting them in. It was like, oh, I'm a Zen on a mini health pack. I'm alone. And then he just clicks on 2 people's heads and they die. So not too bad at all. However, a whole tick for Fusion, and they have 4 minutes left.
When Philadelphia was able to save everything too. They use support ultimates obviously to try to push in, but then Sado died with Primal Rage up. But when I think about Volsky, I think about EMP, and Hisu's EMP is going to be the deciding factor for this next fight. Get anything. EMP into Primal, EMP into Grav. Like, just EMP will win you a fight, and you're so far ahead. Mir very close to Graviton's Surge. That's the one thing you have to look out for. And also, you want to get this done before Biggest gets rallied.
That was close. Carpe, lucky with lightning fast reaction, was able to interrupt that hack. Yeah, alarm dead. Bye-bye. Goodbye, Philly. This is a reset. There's no way you can survive with just Astro's healing. Sado throws himself off the map, and yeah. I mean, now you're out of danger at this point of Shaz building up towards this Transcendence X.
Yeah, and they're already going to have to push in a rally too, so as long as one of these healers stays alive during the next EMP, they should be okay. What do you think about Fusion just going all in? EMP, Grav, Pulse Bomb.
Now you bait out Transcendence with Grav, 100%.
Yeah, even if you don't get one of the healers, you're still probably killing 3 people.
Ooh! What? Are you kidding me? Fury just surfs his way back onto the mainland as OG gets booped into the ocean, and that's it. And then they use B to re-engage, and then Hisu still has this EMP. That Graviton Touch was so sick from Fury, getting it off, managing to trap somebody, and being able to get back onto ground as well. The EMP comes out. You now focus Birdring. Shaz had already used his Transcendence to try and make sure everybody survived from the Grav. What a perfect set of circumstances there for Fusion. That was ridiculous. I'm going to need a few replays of that one at different angles, because even Fury just surviving there just felt like a miracle. And the Primal Raging Winston too, his leap is on a short cooldown as well, but Astro, I believe he was at such an angle where he was booping down on the Winston, so the velocity of the angry gorilla was just thrown into the ocean and probably created the biggest splash we've ever seen on Volsky. That was a ridiculous fight from Fusion.
You don't see a lot of fights happen on that part of the map either, but Los Angeles was the ones who tried to be aggressive and set up that fight. Philadelphia smartly enough, knows it doesn't matter where you win a fight, it's just about how you win a fight, able to pull that off, and didn't even really need EMP. But also, even then, very patient, too, to not use EMP while the Transcendence is coming off. They wait for the very last second. There's the EMP.
Oh, and they cancel the EMP. Dude, I didn't even notice. Oh, man, that is insane. This happened the other week as well in one of our games where the EMP cancels the other EMP. That is such a small window, and bearing in mind, too, that's not like... It's not normally, I would say, a completely thought-out play. Because of the animation speed, it is so fast, and EMP works in like a wave, like Shatter does, so the likelihood of that happening is pretty slim, although you could definitely anticipate the EMP coming in from the Gladiators, but still just ridiculous fight from the Fusion to win that there.
Well, it ain't over yet. Philadelphia putting on a masterclass of offense here on Volskaya. We'll see what their defense has for them. No big swaps from either side.
I'm a fool. It doesn't actually happen in a wave. I was thinking of something completely different. It happens instantly, but point still stands. It's still absurd.
Yeah. Head off those Twitter comments.
Yeah. Just cut them off. That's fine. Oh, nice on T-Suit to start off with. Kick caught out completely there. Wow, that's not looking good. It's now just a slow slog. You got to heal Carpe here. You have to at least find one pick to make this worthwhile, and with Sado going in and having to force himself away, and even with Shaz on a completely different hero, not the Zenyatta, the Immortality field here is going to be so key for them to survive these very close range engagements with people like Alarm as well. The healing output is just absurd. Kevster enabling his team to get at least one tick on the point now.
Well, Hisa should be back by now, though. Like, it's taken the Gladiators a while to really get aggressive on this point, and well, that should be it.
Yeah, cast him there just a little bit. Oh, another quick push. Gladiators, what do they have going into the next fight? They're going to be able to clean this up, although, yeah, you might as well stall for some additional time, or maybe a little bit more, as Birdring does end up going down to Hisa of all people. Yeah, very interesting window placement there from Shaz, but he still makes it work. Finding Astro going down, window used, but they do have Grav Rally. They're going to have basically all ults except for that window for this next fight. It's going to be up to Astro, again, the dance between the Lucio that has the big support ultimate, same with the Zen, and playing around this Graviton Surge, plus the Blade, too.
Yeah. You know, you turned a negative into a positive. Birdwing's not having a good series, and the Gladiators are still playing really well. Birdwing's dying a lot. But you can get the Grav and the Pulse Bomb here. Grab Blade, grab Pulse Bomb, whatever you want. Blade's in.
We've seen Mirror instantly look around there to make sure his supports weren't getting dove on. Big stick in the back. Carpe goes down. That's not something you usually see. The Tracer on Tracer. Carpe dead. Good start for the Gladiators. They've got to fear a little bit less now, especially with all this armor building up. Graviton Surge does net one in Mirror, but he's kept alive. Shaz and Big Goose just pumping him through heals. EMP might have been a little bit too late, potentially. Kevster finishes him off. And now Kevster can basically roam free. He's not going to be impeded by literally anything. Sado picking off one could be important, as now it's only Big Goose available left with the heals, but the damage is so great from the Gladiators. However, they still haven't got a tick on the board. Astro and Sado still stalling it out. 4 minutes, however, still to attack this second point. A hack onto Kevster, not followed up with too much damage. He's so low, but manages to escape into that bubble of safety. Birdring's earned himself another Pulse Bomb and forcing away the Wrecking Ball. Fury switching over to it for stall. The defender's advantage now as Kevster ends up going down, but they're still willing to fight it as Big Goose uses that rally.
It's just not clean enough. It's taking so long to get this that
it should be
yeah, that's good.
Better Soldier doing his job, doing it perfectly. Shaz dancing around that window, picking up 3 people. This should just be it, surely. They're going to have a greater time back as well, mind you. Fusion not quite managed to get back to stall for some additional time. Carpe only just came back with the Pulse. Mira gifting him the kill there, but that doesn't count towards the stats, sadly. 50 extra seconds on the board for the Gladiators.
Well, if it was the old kind of timings, we might have had a 6-6 Volskaya here. Better Soldier, of course, is what many pro players call Baptiste.
Yeah.
Pretty much all pro players call Baptiste Better Soldier, because he kind of is. Kind of just a better Soldier 76. Also does healing.
Hey, he attack and he protect, okay? That's what Baptiste is. He attack and he also protect. He also give him mortality field to people. That doesn't really work, but whatever. It'll do. Okay,
Yeah,
so
but I mean, Soldier at least has self-healing. I don't think Baptiste. Well,
he also has legs. Imagine, oh god, it's honestly the funniest interaction in Overwatch is being able to use your hack to take away Soldier's ability to run.
yeah.
It just think about, it's just so funny. It makes sense, like mechanically in the game, where like it makes sense, but taking someone's ability to run away is just, I would love,
like, I don't have a lot of requests for developers, but I would love if, like, he just started grabbing his legs like he was cramping up, right? That animation should, that should be the animation for when he gets hacked running.
Like he had a bad leg day the day before, and he was just a little bit too sore to go on.
Too many squats.
Yeah, too many squats, exactly. Yeah, Soldier definitely works out. Ooh, that was, the animation cancel on the blink. And then the melee, that was so clean, Carpe. That's a good start too. Again, it's the DPS that goes down super early, Hex. No, it's not Birdering this time around, it's Birdering getting the kill. But now, 1 minute and 20 seconds remains, and Kevster also gets hacked and taken out by Hisu. Now they just sit on the point. Now 2 ticks.
There's not enough damage, even if Carpe comes back in here, which Tracers can do. It just feels like the well.
Buzz, 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 burr. Fury, laser beam, go, burr. OG dead, the rest of them dead. Yeah, that's going to be it. 30 seconds added to the time bank. 1 minute and 30 going into last. Look at the ults online as well. Hisu, I'm surprised he managed to get that much ult charge on the EMP. 65 going on to 70% almost. This is very winnable. Like, you just build ults here, and then you go EMP and use everything else. Hit Q at the same time.
I think you just open with Coalescence and then sit on Fury, let Fury build up his ultimate, use all the support ultimates. That's a great angle.
Oh, Carpe with a nice stick. Doesn't even kill Big Goose. The Immortality Field was used to save him there, and he actually gets taken out by Mirror's right-click through the window. That does an absurd amount of damage if you're high charge on the Zarya.
Oh, now they get it back.
So yeah, use Cole like you said. They use Pulse Bomb, but they've still got those hard-hitting EMP and Graviton Surge for next point, as long as Hisu does build that 20% up, and they've got Beat to rely on too for Kevster's bladed Mirror's grab.
Yeah, there's nothing for Los Angeles to really respond to it. I mean, if OG gets grabbed, maybe he can primal out of it. I would like Los Angeles to be kind of aggressive on this one, actually. Just catch them off guard, throw a blade at them if you can. Or, if you have great faith in Mirror, which you should to build up this ultimates, then you play a little more passively. Looks like they're going to take the passive route and just stay on the bridge.
Yeah, they have to go quick. They must know Mirror's going to be close, or maybe has it in their minds already, this Graviton Surge. Starter's blocking out a lot of this healing coming through. There was a small gap, but he should be okay. Pops the Primal Rage, spots one. It's Kevster, he's up in the skies. Graviton Surge in the back line. That's a lot of damage from Fury. EMP on top as well. That's 3 kills. Mirror's going to be hacked too. He has Grav online, but couldn't actually end up sending it out. 4 seconds now remains in the time bank, but every single member of the Fusion on the point. Beat for the victory firework. And they're going to be able to cap 4 points now on the board for the Fusion.
Philadelphia just getting the better kills early on in the very first fight. Then the ult economy comes online. Even though they had lost a few people, the support ultimates come through at the end. And then it's so good to see Fury back into the mix. Gets the enormous long range, yet again, Graviton Surge, and then Sato's there to just punch people to death. Like, you forget about the damage that some ults which transplant people do. You think about like Whole Hog and Primal Rage, where it's just like, well, yeah, I hit them once and now they're to the moon and they're bounced out of the world. But if you grab people, grab into Primal, grab into Whole Hog, are actually enormous damage dealers.
You're done, basically. You're finished.
I mean, grabbing anything, you're done. You should be done. Like that's why it's such an expensive ultimate, is because it's a game-changing ultimate.
I'll tell you what, too, there's small interaction with Sato and Kevster there. Sato, he had the Primal Rage. He could have easily committed himself onto the back line, which was kind of the obvious thing to do almost in that situation. But what he did actually was find Kevster. Kevster, they must have known he had ult. Obviously, we could see it because we can see everybody's ult charge. But forcing Kevster out and forcing him so low means he can't use Blade. He has to get healed before he goes in, otherwise he instantly dies, and the Blade goes to waste completely. So Sato actually, the target acquisition from Sato there was just ridiculous. Plus, knocking Kevster out of the way too. He was in Primal, Kevster couldn't get a good position to actually get the Blade off, regardless of his HP.
Well, there is 2 minutes and 30 seconds for the Gladiators to work with on their first attack, which means at least 2 solid attacks for them on first points. But they do have to get 2 more points to send this one into extra innings.
was Hisu going down last time to open this one up. Hisu this time playing a little bit more cautious at the back, hacking. Ooh, okay, that was close. Luckily gets the recall off just in time, didn't want to shoot any longer into that deflect. Another hack onto Kevster. You can see their main focus is this Genji.
The closest ultimate up is going to be Shaz, and that could be a really good positional ultimate.
That was such a sick hack. No immortality field. And Hisu just hiding away, just coordinating the dive. Hack, no immo field, you're dead. Team fight done. Can't even hit shift either, so he can't actually heal himself in that situation. You can't heal yourself with right click. You're relying on the brick to heal you there, so ridiculously good hack from Hisu. And now he's got EMP too, or he will do. Funny Astro taxiing Fury back to the point. They've got a lot of tools to deal with what the Gladiators are going to bring on this next attack.
Yeah, they should be back just in time too. That's why it's so important as a Lucio to go do that for your team. Make sure you have the advantage, and they're going to have the support advantage. Not only by the heroes that they're playing, but both ultimates for Philadelphia up for supports.
Gandalis loses 3 people hacked up. Shaz once again a victim of Hisu. You don't need anything more, though maybe you do actually. OG manages to find the boop onto Fury, and Kevster finds it up with another 2 kills of his own. Fusion, I'm not sure if I wouldn't say that was an overcommit. That was just all OG and Kevster in the backline. They're going to be able to group together as 6 a little bit quicker now than Fusion. However, Fusion do have the Lucio on board, but this is still a good point for the Gladiators.
Well, Funny Astro and Fury both died together, so that's actually going to happen yet again.
Here they come. They're coming back now. Yeah, they're back already. But they're still able to get a nice position. Kevster has the blade inside, it already goes down. Graviton Surge in the front line. Kevster unleashes the blade, he's trying to find Astro. Astro with a perfect boop. Kevster no dashes left. Has to find a reset, but can't. The B has also come through from the Fusion to surge them forward, or at least in this situation, push them back to make sure they can survive. Mirastory doing a whole bunch of damage, and now Flowchart Overwatch really coming into effect. They have the grab, and there is no beat to save them now. Hisu, Astro, Fury are dead. Sado makes himself back onto the point, but that will be the first point being captured by the Gladiators. And they have 30 seconds now remaining, and 1 fight to make sure they cap this last point.
Kevster has moved over to the Sombra. 30 seconds, even though it's Sombra, is not enough to get your ultimate up, but a key hack could be instrumental here. Philadelphia still in a decent spot because they have Coalescence. This is the final fight.
You hack alarm. You just need hack alarm. Well, yeah. Yeah, you try. There's one thing doing, and there's other things saying, that is for sure. OG was in that brawl room. I think he was hoping he would get Primal Rage, and he didn't. 1 minute's now down for the Gladiators, and someone still has to touch! Someone does just in time, and it's Birdering. They take care of Carpi, but Big Goose is now down as well. Shaz is the only healer on board, and Kevster's no way near his ult, and there's so many coming up from the Fusion right now. Funny Astro's going to be able to get beat soon, and Hisu with the EMP as well. This looks almost unwinnable. The Gladiators getting turned to mincemeat in the back line. Shaz is going to fall to the Primal Rage, and that will just be it. Another victory firework for Astro as he sends out the beat. Fusion not out of this series just yet, as the Gladiators fall and Fusion take Voskaya.
And you kind of had to expect it. Maybe you'll ask our birthday boy, Ben, when was the last time Philadelphia got swept in a series? Because it seems like it's been a long time. They always put up a fight at the very least. The Gladiators 2-0 coming into this match, but Philadelphia able to take Volskaya, keep it alive. Map 4 incoming. And that was as close can be.
Yeah, Seth bet counting his lucky stars as well. He doesn't have to buy ZP a whole lot of Diet Cola as well. So a win-win for Fusion fans and for Seth as well. That was definitely a close game at that. And I think it just came down to the flowchart again. And it was kind of sad that actually Mira ended up having to use that Graviton Surge at the very end. Oh, there you go. You can see the ZP tweet on his screen.
That would have bankrupted Seth. Do you know how much Diet Coke ZP drinks? It's an absurd amount. And I drink some Diet Coke on my once in a while, but my goodness.
I'm a casual drinky of Diet Coke. ZP, a little bit more than that.
No, he's a pro.
He's a pro. And it is, of course, the official freshman of the Overwatch League too. ZP will plug it for days, regardless of it being a sponsor or not. I'll tell you that right now. But regardless, let's think back to the map again. It came down to the Graviton Surge Mira had to use. They were so desperate to try and obviously win the first cap because obviously you need to, but using the grab made sure that they didn't have anything for the last fight. But it was good of Philly to not only use the beat to kind of disengage, but disengage far away from Mira to force him to use something. Otherwise, they could have maybe re-engaged back onto the point. Yeah. Philadelphia Fusion, they're not out of this just yet. Reverse sweeping coming? Question marks for sure. We'll see if the Gladiators can come back in the series, though. We're going to jump to a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Back 2-1 up in the series are the Glads, currently Hex, and we're about to jump onto Route 66. Now, that was a close game. That was a very, very, very close map, and Gladiators that everybody thought were down in the dumps just a little bit, but the first two maps were a bit more decisive than I think Philly were really expecting, but they bit back, and having Hisu and Funny Astro come in, maybe that was the secret sauce that they really needed to add. They're staying in for this map too.
Well, it's definitely a strategy if you're going to run Sombra, right? Sombra in Volskaya has been a thing for a very long time. No matter if Sombra's good or bad, it just works really well on Assault maps, but on Volskaya in particular. I think the last time Philadelphia was swept, it was by the San Francisco Shock, so you kind of want to even throw that one out. Shock sweeps everybody. Doesn't really seem all that fair. I think that was back in June, but you kind of just had the feeling that Philadelphia was going to at least grab a map back. Like, the Gladiators looked really good in those first two maps, but Philadelphia is not a team that goes quietly into that Dark Night. They're also not a team that really even sweeps teams that they should be beating. It's like, Philadelphia is a team that likes map 4, they like map 5. Map 4 is going to be Route 66. I wonder if we see some switches here. I'd like to see Carpe maybe on an Ash, maybe a long-range hit scan. The Tracer players on both sides have not been real impressive. They've done some stuff. They're hitting pulse bombs into grabs, but like even I can do that sometimes unless I blink past it, which happens a lot. But
dude, I do that all the time. Actually, no joke.
Yeah,
the blink pulse, and I will. I'm like, there is someone in front of me, and like directly in front of me as well. Like I'm literally pressed up against them. I'm like, better blink and then use pulse bomb rather than pulse bomb and then blink away. God. My accuracy with that is very low.
I think Ashe can definitely be run on this map, so we'll see if that continues to be a thing. Obviously, defense is the one that we know is going to happen. Mir still in on the Zarya. Zarya Winston has been the order of the day as far as tanks go in both regions, really. Big Goose Shaz on the support lines, and then, yeah, a defensive Sombra here instead of a Genji from Kevster. Interesting.
Okay. I don't hate it, to be honest with you, especially if he plays nearer the low ground. The people that are jumping up high, he can hack. And there's a lot of space you can actually play with the Sombra too, especially near the spawn. There's a lot of health packs you can steal away, not only with hack, or just like existing near the health pack, obviously very beneficial for the Sombra, but and there's a lot of line of sights as well you can do. So I'm not too surprised to see it, and I'm interested to see how they actually try and deal with it. He's just going to be on a Sombra of his own, and they're going to know almost instantly as they see the health pack is going to be hacked.
Well, it's also really,
so yeah, he knows.
I mean, it's really nice because Route 66 has 2 big health packs, like really close to each other. He's just going to check the second one.
So it's a little bit more dangerous for Carpe as well, because you see there, the health pack is going to be hacked, so he can't really be this solo operator. I like positioning from
all
Hisu
the packs
currently.
Oh yeah,
even
the small one.
The mini one. Yeah, down below. Oh my god, the damage is kind of ridiculous for Carpe. Forcing to use the recall there. They take control of it though, it can swing back into their favor, mind you, so Gladiators are going to have to play around them at least just a little bit. You can see bottom of gas station right now, Fusion have taken control. The hack should wear off in about, I don't know, 20 seconds or so.
Well, it's been bloodless so far. Philadelphia's just taken all of the ground that they want, and they're running this Lucio Moira, so it's going to be generally a ground fight. It's going to be very difficult to dive in and take high ground because the heals just aren't going to be there. Unless Funny Astro, or Alarm, excuse me, goes up top to try to heal, and then he dies.
Yeah, that's rather unfortunate. Nice little recall there from Birdring. See Kevster, Kevster picking up a couple of kills. That's what I said about before. Kevster, if he's holding the high ground, he can basically wait for the dive in, then go for the hack on somebody. Hacking Alarm is the best target you can do, like hands down. There's no way for you to heal yourself unless you hit the right click, and you're then relying on Lucio heals to heal you because you can't use Orb. So it makes the most sense going for the hack on him, or obviously the tanks as well, also very valuable.
It's just really hard to enable a dive that goes into high ground with these healers. Now maybe Coalescence changes that up, but for the most part the healers are going to have to stay ground because they're not ultra mobile unless you run Lucio up the wall. EMP hits 3, hits 4.
Yeah, goodbye, beautiful EMP. A re-hack as well onto Astro. Very sad, very, very sad Englishman. He's now going to wall ride us all the way back to spawn. Goodbye. And that will be the hold for the time being. Shaz dueling out. Go on, win it against the Moira. Do it for me. There you go. Big Goose helped, but I'll take it as a Shaz kill. Scrub that one from Big Goose's tally. That's going to Shaz. He did most of the damage.
You have an interesting relationship with Brigitte. I'll say that.
And Moira. Killed
well, the
Moira.
Gladiators now have both of their support ultimates up in a defensive way, so as long as one of them stays out of this EMP, which you have to imagine is the initiating factor for the Philadelphia Fusion, they should be fine. EMP Coalescence could actually be good. There's the early Transcendence. EMP's not even out yet.
Yeah, they got forced out. That's super unfortunate. The beat's going to come through as well, and Shaz, as soon as he jumped out of that ult, he was instantly killed, and then the big 5-man EMP as well to follow that one up. You see, everybody was trying to help Shaz at that point too, because he was getting chased down, and it was like, well, I'll just fucking, it's the EMP, bro. What are you gonna do? There's literally nothing you can do. You're all bundled up on the payload. You can't do anything.
Yeah, Shaz transcended and then still was the first one to die after that fight. Everyone who went to help him was just a party to the criminal assault that the Philadelphia Fusion put onto Shaz, and they all go down very quickly. Philadelphia able to take this first point in without having to use a ton either. Still Primal, still Pulse Bomb. Coalescence comes out early. Fury's got the Grab, so you'd have to imagine that Grab and Pulse Bomb. You usually don't save Pulse Bomb for Grab unless you're at 95, but that's enormous.
Bye-bye, backline. Carpe and Hisu, just a 2-man wrecking squad right now. However, Alarm is dead. Now only relying on Funny Astro for heals, but Sado's going to be okay. They have Grab coming up as well, so it's very winnable for Fusion. They're not going to go down too quick. Plus, everybody's a little bit more solo operator as well, like I mentioned before with the Tracer and the Sombra, so it's very unlikely if a main healer goes down, they're going to instantly lose, because they can all survive on their own.
Fury has been so patient, too. Graviton Surge still ready to go.
It's not good. Yeah, Kevs is out. So they basically wait, I think, for Fury to grab, and then they go for this EMP. That makes the most sense, or EMP right now. There it is. It happened at the same time. It'll do. Fury instantly dies. Those shields being stripped away from him. Don't forget that those, it's not only sound barrier, like over shield, but actual shields as well. So Zaya's health just instantly disappearing. Nice follow-up as well from Birdring and Big Goose. That'll be the fight all but over. And a healer switch too, mind you, as well, Hex. Big Goose and Shaz now on the Moira and Lucy themselves.
I just like that Birdring made sure that he was going to take the pack no matter what. Like, he didn't even really need the heals. He just didn't want the opposing Moira to get it. So he just blinks to pack first. It's like, nah, you're dead. You're not getting packed. This ain't happening.
Guy now.
Well, Philadelphia can push in here with EMP. Just straight up EMP should be able to win you fights. The hacks have been so good from both sides, actually. Pretty much it's just been tanks getting hacked nonstop.
Oh, no. He knows. He knows, yeah. He needs to get in a position where he can EMP. You can EMP from here. You maybe catch someone on the edge, but that's about it. But Kevs is already going to go down. A perfect call out there from Fusion to make sure Kevs can't really do anything and retreat either. Beat for Carpe. Yeah, 1 billion HP for the Tracer, and it being Carpe as well. Yeah, he's going to take a few people with him even if he does go down. And Fusion now pushing on forward. Mira does use that grab. Pulse bomb on top from Birdring. That's 2 kills. Kev's come back just in time. The hack's going to be good, but is it actually going to be worth it? I don't think it is. Your team are already dead, Hisu. They're already gone. Half of them got pulse bombed, and then the rest of them were too low to actually go for this engagement. The EMP was the one tool that they needed in Hex. They've only got 35 seconds remaining now.
Yeah, I just have one question. Why, though? Why though? That's tough. EMP is like kind of your game-winning scenario there when everyone else has already lost. And you just saw 2 people get pulse bomb. There's the EMP from the Glads.
Here's Asher, here's Carpe, that's all you need. Alarm's got the Coalescence, but it might not even matter, and it shouldn't matter, to be honest. Very, very close to C9ing there as Fury jumps back on old faithful Diva. Shaz falls 2, but like I said before, very solo operator is everybody. Shadow kills 2, actually.
Tried his best.
Kevster and Shaz just doing so much, or at least trying to get away from him, but they couldn't quite manage it. A very, very close spawn position do Gladiators currently hold. Birdring does fall to Astro of all people, and Mirror does get hacked, so it's the trickling of members now coming in. Kevster's back onto the Doomfist, another very famous hero of his. Doomfist is mighty scary. Astro's in the skybox trying to keep his team alive and keep him alive as well onto the point. It only takes half a second of you not being on it right now for it to actually get capped 2. OT is here and Carpe has the pulse bomb. All Gladiators need is one pick. The stick lands. Mirror dead. Fusion now man up. Kevster's going to go in, but instantly hacked. An easy kill onto the Doomfist. Maybe they can't actually finish him off, and he still ends up going down. If Kevster survives, this could be all it. The beat is going to be good, though. 4 people hit. The Fusion are way more hardy than they used to be, and even the Wrecking Ball now coming in big, knocking everybody up. Birdring's pulse bomb is going to have to save them from this entire fight, but it might not be worth it. A stick onto the Tracer, but Carpe actually got the recall off there, so the pulse bomb did absolutely nothing. Big Goose going down as well. Up to Shaz to heal everybody up, as OG and Mirror are slowly but surely chunked out. Birdring makes it back to the point in time, but it was too little and too late. Point number 2 is the Fusions, as they open the doors to the factory.
What absolute chaos that fight was. And if Los Angeles Gladiators want to take the step up from being a middle-of-the-pack team to a contender-style team, they need to finish fights. They had that one. It was theirs. They had everything, but they were unable to finish off the last couple of kills that allows Philadelphia to come in and respawn. And now look at this ult economy. Philadelphia, rich.
Run away, Hisu, run away! He's good. He's got no HP, though. Oh, there's a beat coming in for Gladiators, but it instantly gets EMP'd. Oh, like, aggressive beat, dive on the back line. Yeah, well, unlucky. EMP stripping away all the shields. Unfortunate for Big Goose. Again, it's the support duel against the Sombra. This time around, Hisu end up winning it.
Gladiators don't have a whole lot here to rely on the defense. It is going to just be relying on that age-old combo of the Graviton into a Pulse Bomb. Big Goose goes down early. Huh? Alarm got him with an orb.
Goes down to Skill Orb, of all things. Hisu's going to get traded, though. What? Another Skill Orb kill? That's 2 right there. Alarm finds another. Then the beat's going to come out as well. Okay. All right. Where's these Moira changes, huh? Although Orb's a little bit more powerful, I would say, with the new changes. But anyway, back to the present. Mirror's on the hog. He wants to find one pick, for so does Birdring. pulse bomb in hand. Can he find anything? Forced to recall early, and now he's getting chased down by Sado. OT once again very present in the minds of the Fusion. Carpe on the point with a pulse bomb of his own. A big EMP should settle it all. You'd hope at least. Kev's to hit 5 people with it, but the Fusion refusing to go down. Mira gets hacked, couldn't heal himself up. And Fusion clearing everybody off. The Wrecking Ball to stall. Can he find anything? I don't think he can. He's running into Sombra and everything else that can stop him. Shaz dies near the spawn. And this should be the Fusion capping at this last point now.
Seems inevitable at some point. The EMP comes out for good measure. Both tanks hit by that. And those are tanks that rely on abilities to stay healthy. OG and Mir will both go down.
The beat doesn't matter, by the way, Hex, but funny Astro built 2 beats in that fight. Again, it shows how ridiculously good he is on that hero. Not only through healing, of course. It doesn't take much to heal people as Lucio, of course. Using the amp at the right time is very crucial, however. But just doing the damage, Astro just absurd. I would love to know his damage numbers at the end of this game and how it compares to everybody else. Oh, well, there you go. You can tell me.
14% of his team's damage. Only 5 damage for his squad, but he's earning ults every 1 minute and 28 seconds, which for Lucio is pretty quick.
Pretty ridiculous, yeah. Oh, there's the orb! Look at it go. Oh, would you look at that.
Majestic.
Oh my god, Birdring is like walking backwards, and it is literally 1 tick of the orb damage kills him. That, okay, well. It'd be like that sometimes, unfortunately.
I do just want to take a moment to talk about Sado here, who was like much maligned during Philadelphia's downturn. But this year, with the trust I think he has in his healers and just everything else, the confidence that comes through, and also Sado being able to play Winston. Like, Philadelphia used to force Winston, even when it wasn't meta. Like, Sado was just like, oh, he's trying to play Winston, and there was a lot of, some questionable feeding that Sado did, but he's the reason they won that second point. Like, he jumps in late, he's able to get 2 kills, and then stall out. He doesn't go for more when he's at like a quarter health. He just waits, sits on the carts, buys enough time for Philadelphia to come in for reinforcements. A fight that the Gladiators should have won. Sado pulled back for Philadelphia.
Okay, Miracoms this time around. Yeah, Glads do not want to go back on the rig and the Zen. Not too surprising. Definitely feel like the matchup is very winnable for them, for Mira. Almost an unlucky hack. That was a very good hack onto OG, but being on the payload provides a lot of cover. Not too much, though, as the rest of Philadelphia Fusion surround him. No jump. As he jumped, he died. Good kill onto OG is a nice little start for the defense.
Philadelphia's just fighting the clock here. Like, yes, the Gladiators exist on the map, but Philadelphia knows they completed, and now they just have to make it difficult for the Gladiators. If Philadelphia doesn't win a fight here, they can still win the map. It's just about this stall out, which is why they're taking such a poor hold.
He always full holding Rialto. And in fact, most escort maps at this point, it feels like you go for the full hold, except for something like Rialto. Nice little Cole kill onto Birdring. It's a big EMP, along with a pixel perfect tracking as well. Amazing. There you go. Should be finished up now. And coming into this next fight, though, Fusion are going to be able to set up rather quickly. I do question sometimes why teams don't hold like really far up, and I can understand with Gladiators running the Zen before, so it makes sense why they wouldn't holding right at the spawn doors. But Fusion are in a good position. They've almost got Grav. I can imagine they're going to get it soon, with it being Fury, of course, and a Hisu with the EMP very close too.
Yeah, the EMP is where this fight is won or lost coming up here. Both supports for the Glads. That's coming on.
That was impressive. Really nice. That EMP was actually a little bit better. Carpe with the double kill with the pulse bomb, though, killing off Big Goose and Kevster. Okay, that should be it for the Gladiators. I really like the counter EMP when the grab comes out. It was ridiculously nice. Apparently, they didn't actually get too many people off of it, but it was actually Carpe following up on the hacked people.
Well, you think about, like, when you get grabbed, what's going to happen next is they're going to combo it with something else. So, able to use the EMP to make sure that they can't do that, or that mobility is limited from the team to dive in on you and do something like that. Like, rarely do you see a great defensive EMP, but that might have been one of them.
Coalescence used. They're gonna respond to this with a beat. Oh, Fury's been knocked off. Oh no! Couldn't quite serve his way back on the map this time around. Those rocks are rather treacherous. Don't trip. and enjoy the trip down to the pit. Now, Ukabe falling. This looks rather easy for the Gladiators here. No way they're not going to win this one now, especially with Fury going. And the grab, of course, used on OG, who was Primal Raging at the time, or popping Primal Rage in the grab, so he wasn't going to instantly die.
Well, the question is, if you're Philadelphia and you really feel like you're truly fighting against the clock, do you just send Sato in here? Just send the Primal in and just make sure that everyone come in. You're going to lose the fight, probably. But it still allows you to buy time. Yep, they're in.
Yeah, there's the EMP. Oh, he got interrupted! Kevster got hacked! Hisu with a manual hack on Kevster interrupted the EMP. It didn't matter because Birdring managed to clean everybody up. But what a perfectly timed right-click hack onto Kevster to deny the EMP. Oh man, that is so... Oh, it's like, I've hacked EMP, guys, I've hacked EMP. But it didn't matter at the end. As Birdring's able to get a post-on kill and then a follow-up at that as well.
Alright, so I fully expect Philadelphia to continue to just force fights. Like, wherever the card is, Philadelphia is going to try to force the fight there. They're not going to sit back and play defense, or I don't think they should. Maybe you let it get around the bend, because that's a better defensive stance. But yeah, Philadelphia just looks like they're going. They're just going.
Nice little hack onto Kevster. No recall, no Translocator, goodbye. Uchi popping the Primal Rage, in fact, everybody popping ults almost instantly. Sato received the beat, but look how much healing he's receiving as well. He's being kept alive by OG somehow. OG running amok, but it's up to Mira to really finish people off. That's the best thing about the Winston, just pushing people like Fury into the rest of your team for Kevster and Birdring to follow up. Birdring now has that pulse bomb. As soon as he gets that healing, he's going to be able to dive in with it. In fact, he might not even need to be fair. You might just do it to end the fight a little bit more cleanly, but now with Fury going down, you definitely don't need to do it. Payload's still moving, also slowly. There's only one person on it. The rest of the Gladiators, knowing that they've won the fight now, are going to be able to retreat to the payload and get a few more bodies on it.
They needed Hisu to live there. Hisu going down is rough because they had that giant EMP advantage, which Kevster is now closing the gap on. And now the Gladiators should, on paper, we use that term a lot, should win this next fight because they have grab, EMP, pulse bomb, and beat shook it up as well.
Woo! There it is in the back line. There's the pulse. Perfectly bubbled though, but Big Goose comes in, smacks them all down. Coalescence and Pulse Bomb still doing a bit of work, but now they have to deal with this beat. Fury's got the perfect tool for it, but the EMP's going to be good. That looked like a very one fight from the Fusion. Fury had that grab just online. Kevster with an instant EMP. They can get back, but is it actually going to be enough? Maybe Fury gets back in time with the help of Funny Astro. But this Coalescence is going to put so much pressure on the front line of the Fusion right now.
It really doesn't matter if Philadelphia wins or loses this fight. The fact that they're forcing this many fights is the goal of this competition.
OG again? OG is just going to get melted now, swinging around. 10k DPI, maybe even more, to make sure he can't get a headshot, but he gets melted regardless. A good use of the grab, taking away the main tank, and now Mira falling as well. 30 seconds remains for the Gladiators. This looks holdable for the Fusion.
No, and you see their goals just based on what they're doing. Sato there had a couple people dead to rights. If he wants to leap in and go after them, he probably gets a couple of those kills. But that's not the point. The point is to camp the cart and make the Gladiators beat you. Philadelphia playing defense in a unique way, but it's absolutely the correct way right now. And Philadelphia has 2 support ultimates. EMP not quite ready yet, but you have to imagine Kevster should get it during this fight.
He's going to get it. And now the dance.
Oh, that's such a
beat. The beat versus
far
the
away
EMP. OG's going to fall to Astro already. There's a lot of bodies now down. I mean, realistically, it looks lost because OG creates so much space.
What
the EMP instant in with there with the beat. Fury does get focused out by Birdring, but the Coalescence is not enough healing to keep Mira alive. And Hisu even sitting on an EMP of his own right for the final few seconds. It comes out. It hits 3. Big Goose, Shaz, Kevster, goodbye. Birdring comes back with a kill onto Hisu, but it looks rather sore. And I mean, at the moment, you're relying just on this beat to come through. Birdring staying alive with 2 HP. Receives the beat just in time. Sato trying his hardest as well to knock Birdring away. Eventually finds the kill. And now the slow trickling of tanks onto the payload. If Birdring gets back, maybe winnable. OG even earns himself a Primal Rage. How are these fights going on for so long? They step off the payload though. Oh my word. I cast a curse him right at the very end. OG was in Primal. Was a meter away from the payload. I thought he was touching it. I think he did as well. And the Fusion are going to hold the Gladiators just before the factory and go 2-2 in the series.
Philadelphia Fusion. They don't really do sweeps or get swept themselves. Map 5, why not? Philadelphia, I think, is still, number 2 in the league in final, map 5s they've ever gone to as a franchise. It makes perfect sense here, and I really like how they played that defense. Knowing that you completed the offense means that you don't even have to win team fights. You just have to make team fights long and last and make sure that they can't get progress, and that's exactly the Philadelphia goal. You saw it mostly starting at first capture, where Sato was just jumping in primal. That one worked out terribly, by the way. Philadelphia got wiped in a short order, but on second point, it was always like, well, yeah, we should hold here because it's a defender's advantage, but what if we just jump on the cart and play there? Then, the fights went on so long. Philadelphia understood the objective and played the clock, and I'm loving how Sato's playing today. I think Sato's having one of his best games against a really good team.
Now it all comes down to this. Reverse sweep. It's a reality. We're going on to Lijiang Tower as our next map. We're not going to go to a break either. We're just going to jump straight into the action when both teams are ready. I've had enough. I've had enough today. I'm done. Although, like I said before, I do love watching So in the cooking videos. It's pretty entertaining, as I can't really bake myself. Most of my mother's disappointment, I can imagine. Yeah. My mum is also a fantastic baker. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm surprised I'm not a few kilos heavier than I am currently. And I do miss my mum's cooking back in the UK. But hopefully I'll be able to go back at some point. But anyway, let's talk about map number 4 and actually what went down. Hisu and just the dance. Sorry, not even Hisu. Kevster and Funny Astro, the kind of dance that you have to do with the EMP and the beat. Yeah. That, at the very end, is almost telegraphed. Astro has been a top-tier Lucio for the longest time, for as long as I can remember. He has been in these situations time and time and time again. There is no way he's going to fluff this beat up against the EMP. If you let it out early, or if you don't find Astro, he's going to come in, land a big beat, and then the team is going to be able to survive through this EMP. And I have questions, like maybe Kev still should have searched for Astro a little bit longer. Maybe they needed to just pin him down and either force him out of cover, or even just go for this big solo EMP, or like a couple of man EMP with Astro included, because that's what really turned it around and enabled Hisu to come back in time as well.
It was such an enormous beat, and you saw everyone's health bar was so low, and if that beat doesn't come off, then we're still probably playing Route 66, as it were. But it's difficult as Sombra, because you know what your target is, right? Like, you gotta get one of the supports, probably the Lucio. But how long do you wait to find the Lucio? Is it valued just to get the Lucio? Probably. I think at the highest level, especially in Owl, like when people talk about like, well, it's a solo shatter, it's a solo grab. It's like, well, yeah, but single kills win fights in Owl. Like, they should win fights if you get a high priority target. So maybe it's not Kevster's like wheelhouse to be like the Sombra and to really know where to search and where to get value out of it. It was a really good EMP. It's just Astro was able to dodge it and live through it. So it's not, I don't think, a failing by one player or the other. It's just like two good players went at it, and sometimes you just get beated on, and that was that was the beat. Yeah, I mean, that was the beat that won them the fight. That was such an enormous beat. So having Funny Astro and Alarm back in, I think there's a comfort there as well, where they know where each other's going to be. That was the duo that we had for a long time. Philadelphia has experimented with bringing Boombox back in, but I think if you're Philadelphia and you go down 0-2 like they did, you just start thinking of like, let's just run our best 6 and hope for the best. Like, I'm tired of strats, I'm tired of coaching. Let's just, who are our best players? Let's put them in.
Oh,
but you don't want to outthink yourself and like think like, oh well, no, but this is what we scrimmed. Just like, no, these are our best players. Put them in. Like, it's not that hard.
Why are people surprised at Mirror Overwatch is on tank? He's literally a Xayah one-trick lol. KSP 2020. Thank you, KSP. Very additive. Very cool. That is funny. It's they've been playing together or playing against each other, of course, for a long time. Not only in EUQ, but in contenders as well. So it's cool to see these little bits of banter backwards and forwards. It's always pretty good, especially when we were in Goats Meadow when I was casting EU, because there were such strides, I think, at Goats Meadow in terms of Sombra Goats, and there was a point where obviously Doomfist Goats was a thing too, but because players were stuck on these roles for so long, it's so easy to make that meme. It's like, ha, one trick. Like, it's pretty funny. Mirror's other heroes are extremely good too. I would say his Doomfist is probably one of his better ones. But seeing him back on Xayah is a little bit of a blast from the past for me, at least. It's cool to see, honestly.
Well, everyone's a one-trick when there's one composition run for like a year.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to feel like a one-trick there.
Speaking of that, Alarm. Hello? You want to play some Zan? Maybe just a little bit. Trust me. Look, I mean, the Brig is pretty good hero. But your Alarm is... Your Zen also pretty clean. I love seeing Zen players come back out, and I'm not too surprised Gladiators did end up switching off the Zenyatta, going for the Mirror, especially when you have the Sombras on either side too. But seeing good Zen players is really spectacular. Shaz especially. We saw on Icon Vault he was able to pick people off quite regularly, quite routinely, especially Carpe too. Clicking on a Tracer and being able to survive against a Tracer dive, or just a dive in general, is a skill of its own. And it's a little bit lost with things that have a lot of mobility, but Zen rather fragile. But when you really get those pop-off moments, it looks so good.
Yeah. I completely understand when you say, like, when you're Alarm. There's some times where a player is so good that they just become the hero. So, like, lately it's like, oh, well, this team is going to be playing the Amon, right? Oh, they're just playing ball.
Sure.
Like, yeah, of course they're going to run the
well, right?
Yeah, they're going to run the Jonak in the back lines. Excuse me, Zenyatta. It just happens. It happens to your brain.
Yeah, and you think like
Jung Tower...
KSP, Widow, etc. Chipsa, Doomfist.
I knew we couldn't get through a Philadelphia broadcast without you bringing up Chipsa. We were so close. We were so close to getting through a single Philadelphia broadcast without you mentioning Chipsa.
Hey. He's coming in one day. I'm telling you right now. Here's the juice. Here's the leaks. Countdown Cup, Philadelphia. I've read the script. Finals.
I'm gonna need that in an email opened on stream, please. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna need. Yeah. You know those emails that we get that start with confidential? Just crack those open on stream.
I just did, dude. Hey,
yeah, why not? Hey, it's juice.
It is. It's true. He's coming in. Final map of Countdown. You ready? I'm not ready. That's for sure.
It all comes out of this. It's kind of surprising that we're in map 5 between Philadelphia and Los Angeles Gladiators. We shall see what teams want to run. Philadelphia opts for a Reaper here. So you got to think they want to get to the point and hold the point. So it's not going to be a courtyard battle. It's going to be a rotation to the right when they get the chance. Maybe?
I actually don't mind it, but it's definitely another person that's susceptible to the hacks. Mirror goes down super early to Fury of all people. Just the WM1 comp.
Yeah.
Which is
no, Reaper doesn't care about getting hacks at all. It's one of the least valuable targets to hack because Reaper is just Rudy Tooty point and shooty. Like, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I forgot. I actually completely forgot about that. Rudy Tooty point and shoot. That is pretty true. WM1.
No, like hacking a Doomfist turns him into a potato because he's all ability based. But Reaper is just like, no, I'm just shooting shotguns and walking. Like you didn't really. That tickled a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, Doomfist is also really jacked, so his hitbox is large. So it feels extra sad because you're not like a Tracer where your hitbox is pretty small. It does feel pretty awful as Doomfist getting hacked. Good first cap, by the way. We'll get back to the game in hand. Alarm does have that coalescence. If I were Alarm, I'd definitely use this fairly early, or you'd think so. But Shaz has his coal online right now too. A bit more awkward if you're on the offense to use this coal. So they're up on the high ground. Death from above. Oh, spotted OG. Both coalescences are going to use that. EMP was so good though. Catches out Hisu. Couldn't use that shift to get away. It's the only real survivability tool he has, apart from obviously the leech on his weapons. And Shaz with a follow-up of the coalescence too.
I miss the days of soul orbs on the ground.
Soul orbs. Oh my word! I actually completely forgot about that.
A long time ago.
Wow, that is old.
Well, they hacked all the targets they needed to. Carpe, Hisu, and Sato all got hacked, and they all died in short order just after. But 56% has been accrued by the Philadelphia Fusion, and they will be able to go in and actually just put some pressure on. Gladiators did not see that rotation coming.
Just completely out of rotation. Plus, they used that beat just to try and survive that grab, or it was a little bit preemptive, mind you. Mirror's grab came out a couple of seconds later. Mirror almost went down as well in that fight. Stardew, unfortunately, he gets booped off the edge by Mirror. That can either be a melee or the right click. Boop him off. He gets a bit of extra charge for that as well. I got to be scared because Gladiators at the end of the day, Hex, are going to have EMP every other fight at this rate. And Fury struggling, I feel, to build up this Graviton surge. Pressure on the point for Carpe. An easy rotation for Gladiators. Even Kev's just holding out the right click as well is enough for Carpe to scurry for cover. Graviton Surge from downtown. Stick on top as well. Carpe luckily recalling out of his own pulse bomb. That could have been rather disastrous. Not one for the highlight taped. Hisu getting the death blossom, but it ends finds one. It's a very, very backwards and forwards fight with now the coalescence being invested in. As long as they can get OG in a position to succeed with the help of Mirror, Hisu's going to have a rather rough time as he's already used this Fade too. However, Fusion capping the point, it's all on the Gladiators now to try and get back in the fight.
Now the Gladiators below 50% on nearly all of their ultimates, so if they want to take this back, they're going to have to do it in the neutral. Philadelphia in the same boat, but they're nearing support ultimates much, much quicker. And here comes the dance again. Astro is very likely going to hold on to this beat for as long as possible. It takes way longer to build beat than it does EMP, so he's just waiting, trying to wait in the wings for when Kevster eventually gets EMP.
Yeah, and they have that coalescence too to see them through. He actually uses it early. This is final fight, mind you, as well, because 90% is on the board, but Fury ends up getting on the wrong side of the wall, gets pulse bomb. A flick of the wrist for Carpe, and a perfect transition by the Ops team into Birdring. That was ridiculous. Birdring ends up killing off Sado. The recall was enough to keep Carpe alive, but now he has to stall out to the point as well. Alarm and Funny Astro touching for the time being, force it over to 99% as Kevster and Shaz bite the dust, but OG still in the fight. Not for long though, as Hisu is going to come back with a little bit of revenge, killing off Mirror. The Graviton Surge is thrown on out, so no one can get past this front door. And now only OG to take care of. Gladiators, they capped, but Fusion will find the flip. OT here with one person left remaining to touch. It's going to be Kevster, but it's no way near that EMP, especially in final fight. He's got 20% to go, and they have to get through Hisu and his Death Blossom.
Well, Hisu could just walk out of the point and dance with the devil whenever he so needs, and it might be right now.
Kevster's built it up too as well, but Hisu unleashes the Death Blossom and gets instantly killed. He can do all of anything. That was their tool, and that was their time to succeed. OT is still here for the Fusion, but the Gladiators have killed them all off. 79% for the Gladiators, and they find the flip, and Hisu with the emergency swap onto the Sombra.
Well, it doesn't matter if he was going to swap or not. You have to swap after that Death Blossom did absolutely nothing for them. Beats Coalescence available for the Fusion to initiate. Initiate with Coalescence, beat to react. Well, initiate with beat, I guess. Let's go.
Oh, what a stick as well. An instant run over of Mirror. That's the problem with the Lucio comps, man. They're going to run at you, and they're going to run at you fast. Mirror getting pulse bomb and Kevster going down as well. It's up to OG to solve some additional time. Fury's going to be able to farm him, and now Hisu can just basically sit back and relax, go for these hacks. Fury almost gets booped off, and he does. OG with the clutch boop in the Primal Rage is going to stall enough time for Mirror to come back on the Wrecking Ball, but Salo's got a Primal Rage of his own. Philadelphia Fusion in control as they push people off, but it wasn't enough time for Kevster to decloak and get onto the point. After
That's tough.
A painstaking final fight, the Philadelphia Fusion take Night Market.
Sato was holding right side, which sent both of the Los Angeles Gladiators tanks packing to try to find a rotation around, banking on the fact that Kevster was going to be able to at least touch and teleport to the point. A second too late, make sure that doesn't happen. Like you can't go in against a Primal Winston who's holding that door. That's just suicide. There's no way you can go in on that side. So they have to rotate, but Kevster just doesn't get there in time. The tanks were supposed to follow up that rotation from Kevster. Just a second away, and now Philadelphia, one round away from pulling off the reverse sweep.
The Junkrat too with the double shield. They're going to
Very
encapsulate
different comps.
Carpe to make sure he doesn't go down quickly to Kevster on the flank or Birdring on the Cree. Yeah, extremely different. I wonder if this is a symptom of Mirror only really playing the Zarya. I wonder how good his Sigma actually is, especially if they've even practiced with it, of course. Oh, that's
well, I mean, this is a control
downtown.
center comp that we've seen. Like, we saw this earlier today, roughly 78 hours ago when we started the cast. This was like the composition, the Junkrat and Symmetra. It's so good on this point and this point alone.
And I wonder if they're going to stick. Mirror, you got to question if they're not going to switch to Sigma or not, because the double shield is going to help survive against all this spam Carpe is dealing. You can see him kind of, again, Birdring gets concussion mind again. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is Carpe now getting an ult, and if you had to put a clock on it as well, I mean, they are probably going to be about 50% or so, maybe a bit more in fact, as soon as Carpe has used this tire, because if a tire kills one, you have to go for a reset again. And he kills Kevster! Is there anything Carpe cannot play to a ridiculously high level? Beautiful stun though, I think that was from Bird Ring in fact, to stop that flux from going off, but it actually doesn't matter, because he's so be microwaving people.
I was going to say Zarya when you asked that question, and that's only fair because Philadelphia's winning.
Well, okay.
Philadelphia's GOATS was not,
I was trying to be nice.
Tier. Yeah, I know. But that's the answer to the question. But yes, everything else Carpe can definitely play. They're going to have tire up. They're going to have the wall. And how many times have we seen this today? Just Junkrat hiding and waiting. 70%! Los Angeles has to win this fight. It has to be a grab into something.
Carpe's got a light on his head. He's got an idea. The light bulb has been lit. The tire as well. He's waiting. He's waiting for that grab to make sure Gladiators are in a weird position as well. The tire's in the center pavilion. 30 HP left. It ends up detonating, but not finding anything. Sado, though, ends up cleaving through and helping kill off OG. This is it. This is all but over at this point. OG dies with the shatter. It's now 95%. They at least kill Sado, but will it actually be enough? They've got Fury on the point. Alarm Fanny Astro as well. And Carpe is alive. Are just spamming the front line. They're going to be able to survive at least for a little bit longer with this rally as OG makes it back to the point. They end up finding the flip. Fusion now needs to look for one more fight to take the series and the complete reverse sweep.
Well, they did drain the bank account there, though. Philadelphia used everything. Los Angeles going to throw in the Amplification Matrix, but they lose one during that.
Big shadow, though, on the back. Now they can't really do all too much. Hisu ends up going down to a mirror right-click, and they're going to have to reset now.
Well, this might be Fury's time to shine. Hasn't gotten a ton of playtime this year. He's got the Flux, and they're going to put Carpe on the McCree to be able to capitalize on that. Pull everyone outside of shields. Click some heads.
Click a couple of heads. That's it. That's the game plan. Burberry switch over to Junk, by the way. They've swapped heroes completely. Shaz around the corner. Yeah, Shaz and Mirror got lifted up in the sky. They are very low, and Immortality Field has already been burnt. War coming out from Hisu too, and they can just play around this with ease. Hisu's fully charged as well, mind you, and OG did not stand a chance against Fury and the rest of the damage. Funny Astro even sitting on the beat as well. Gladiators can still come back into this, and Kevster's with the ult. He finds one, finds two. Carpe and Alarm go down, but the beat in response. They're going to be able to survive, at least for the time being, as Kevster trying to deal with the turrets in the back line. Now they're going to go for a pincer maneuver as Sado ends up falling as well. The main tank is down as OG comes back. Kevster has saved the Gladiators for the time being as they find the flip.
All right. All right, Gladiators. Gladiators are going to be able to at least rally, but everything else is pretty far away. This might be a tale of two shatters here. OG nearing it. Sado already has it. If one of these shatters gets anyone, one person, that's all you need, then that team should likely win the fight.
Biggest has got to rally early here. He has to know Shatter, and Sado. He must know he has it. Yeah, there you go. Really early rally. OG now with the Shatter. Can he actually follow this up with any meaningful damage? He is going to get stunned. The reverse Shatter. It hits the shield, but the Flux is going to be good. Someone still has to touch the point, mind you. It's 90%. Sado ends up getting burnt alive as Kevster just holds W and M1. The perfect combo if you're the Reaper. Now Philly have to touch. They are still getting capture progress as the Gladiators have only lost Bird Ring. They make sure they don't end up capping, but Kevster ends up going down. Carpe in the last few moments is going to be able to find a nice little flank route and demolish the front line and the back line. Big Goose, OG, they're dead. The rest of Gladiators are going all the way back to spawn. The Fusion have wiped them and found the reverse sweep in the series.
What I was talking about Carpe earlier, when people bring up his Tracer stats, when people bring up any of his stats, I don't care. He's always there when you need it most. He has giant plays when it's on the line. When they need it most, Carpe finds the flank. Carpe finds the Deadeye kill. Carpe finds the kill on the Kevster, which makes the rest of his team very comfortable. He is as clutch can be, and you can't really show that with stats. The Gladiators put on a hell of a performance, and granted, they did not end up winning the series, and that's going to haunt them, because they had 3 chances at it. But I think it's not the statement game we were thinking of when it was going to be 3-0, but they've put themselves on the radar now that they have to be taken seriously. The new additions have been great. But I saw a lot of people when it was 2-0 being like, oh, we don't have to be Gladiators today. I'm sorry. Today is still a day where you have to be Gladiators, because somehow getting reverse swept just feels worse than just losing a match.
Oh, yeah, losing a match 3-0, whatever. Like, GG go next, right? But a reverse sweep, that is pretty painful. And the Gladiators that came into the series with, well, I think not high expectations, to be honest, put upon them. And they haven't been doing well recently. They've been losing to teams they definitely shouldn't lose to. And then going all the way here right now against Philly, the finalists of the Summer Showdown, just ridiculous. And I do really feel for them. It's a tough situation to be in. I'm sure you've all been in that situation, especially old Control in competitive, where you're up 2 and then you lose the next 3 stages in a row. It is a heart-wrenching loss.
That was back when there were soul orbs on the ground.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at Philadelphia, what a ridiculous turnaround too. And bearing in mind, Hex, I want to quickly bring it up, but that giant pause that we had can really sometimes weigh on you just a little bit, right? And Philadelphia seemed just unhindered by it.
Yeah, even casting, we're like, oh man, I lost on my rhythm, I lost on my momentum, and like that hurts as a team. You're ready to play, and then it's like 40 minutes later, like, oh, I guess now we can play. So Philadelphia able to find the right pieces towards the end. They made some good adjustments. I like the Reaper play that they pulled in, and then Carpe moves to McCree. Like, it worked out very well for them. The Gladiators should be pretty happy with themselves. They have a couple pieces they added, but Philadelphia, it's not the new players they've added, but Sato, man, I think he had one of his better games, and he's on his best hero. Winston's definitely Sato's best hero.
Yeah, and he's going to be our Xfinity player of the match. Yeah, I mean, Winston, Sato's playing it, Philadelphia are going to have a good game. And bearing in mind, too, they did swap people in and out, but Sato was that consistent factor in the team. Really did put up a performance. And on the Reinhardt, of course, on Control Center as well, completely different comp from what we've been seeing, but his Winston has been something to adore, that is for sure. I mean, getting Primal Rage kills is hard enough. Sato was finding multiple people with Primal Rage, and then even just dislodging people and pushing them towards his team so they could clean up the kills as well. Sato, yeah, deserved 100%.
I mean, for me, it was on Route 66, the plays he didn't try to make, because he knew their objective, again, was to play the cards, don't be stupid, don't go feed. And I'll think about it. He had a couple people lined up that if he leaps in and gets the kill, that's guaranteed, but he's also putting himself at risk, so he was staying back, playing it right, playing patient. I think Sato has figured out his role on this team and what they expect out of him, what they require out of him, and he's been really good for this team all year with a new support line, understanding his role, and Sato's Winston was always really good. He just got forced into some different heroes sometimes, but Sato makes himself known yet again today.
Yeah, putting up some nice numbers too. 15 Primal Rage kills, not bad whatsoever. 16 knockback kills too. And the limbs per 10 for a Winston as well, with people like Carpe on your squad. Yeah, nearing 20. That's pretty good. You can definitely give yourself a pat on the back for that one. Oh, definitely. I mean, Philadelphia Fusion, it feels like the same story again, where if Philly end up going to the finals and then losing the Countdown Cup as well, it's just going to be it's going to be pretty painful. But from today, from what they can play and keeping their heads in the game too, this looks like a Philly that can definitely take the cup. So it's like we've got an interview as well. Funny Astro, fellow UKer. I don't know what that's not even a word.
Don't ask me. I'm American.
I was going to say 3-head, but regardless, we got Custer and Funny Astro on the line.
Yes, I'm here with Funny Astro. Okay, why do you always do this to us? Another map 5, another reverse sweep. How do you guys keep getting away with being so clutch?
I don't know. This one wasn't planned. The first 2 maps didn't go that well, so we kind of engaged Plan B, which is something we had 0 scrim time on, 0 practice, 0 preparation. We just kind of said, screw this. It's Gladiators. They suck at adapting. And we kind of went for it.
So that wasn't planned at all. When you guys switched to the Sombra and you came in, were you expecting to play this match at all?
I knew I was the Plan B. But obviously we were hoping Plan A was going to work better. We had good results with it in our practice, and it was looking good, but today it just didn't work out, and Plan B was the way to go.
Wow, I am actually shocked by this. Alright, well, so were you expecting such a competitive match from the Gladiators? They were playing really well in this Genji dive style.
I think we thought it was going to be way easier.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they got quite lucky with the meta, where they were allowed to put Mirror and Birdring and Kevster in at the same time with Mirror on Zarya, which is like his best hero. And it's just kind of like their perfect meta, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I just saw it on my screen. I want to bring it up. That Lucio boot on OGE on Volskaya second, was that just pure luck, or are you just like a god?
I'm just a god. There's no explanation for that one.
I knew it. So were you guys surprised when the Gladiators started mirroring you on the summer comp? Because I'm sure they also had zero practice on this.
That didn't surprise me. The last time we played Gladiators was in, I think it was the May Melee. And we also did the same thing where we played like a map with 0 scrim time and 0 practice on our team comp. Just because it was something they weren't prepared for. And they didn't adapt then, and they didn't adapt now, so I guess they just panicked and pressed the mirror button.
All puns intended, I'm sure. So, you guys fell short, just short, once again in the Summer Showdown. What was the team culture like after that? Like, you guys always seem to fall short. You guys coming back even hungrier?
I mean, our team culture is great. We're all friends. It was a pretty easy loss to get over, actually, because at least we made it to the finals, and it was this kind of situation where you're one fight away from winning it all. And when you're one fight away, you can't really blame anything. You can't say anything went wrong. It's just kind of unlucky, as Chipster would say. But I think this month we can definitely take it. Like a couple of months ago, we came 3rd to 4th. Last month, we came 2nd. So I think we're on track to come 1st.
Yeah, just making it all the way up, one step at a time. Yeah. I like it.
Improvement.
So, one step. Okay, so talking about friendliness, we saw some pictures on Twitter of Poco with a wide spread right now, and is this just what it's like living with Poco? He's just all over the place?
He actually plays like that quite a lot. Sometimes I just see him at his desk with his legs up. It's pretty concerning, but I don't know. What can you do with the man?
Peripheral vision. Alright, man, that's everything I got. Thank you very much for talking through everything. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you very much.
Alright, awesome. Thank you. We are moving on to the Watchpoint post show. We're going to be summing everything up with me, Johnny, and Zoe, so stick around.